Ooh, yeah. It's our intro music. Fuck yeah, is that little JT?
No, we're in. I have
So,
no idea.
I
That's
think
a
that,
button on a soundboard.
isn't that? I'm pretty sure that's like that kind of like that one JT song. Like, isn't there like remember that one like that was like around
Do
the
it one more
sexy
time
back?
for me.
I don't fucking know the words, dude. You know the one like
Yeah, but like I almost have that melody
Yeah, I
down.
was gonna get it.
like
I
like
feel like if I heard it just one more
Zip it
time,
in a-
like floating on my set, some shit like that.
That sounded like
I feel like those two weren't the same.
yeah, that sounded like Tech Nine.
Hey, don't worry about it. All right. Here we are. Are we back? We live?
We're live.
We buzzing? All right, we're in here. We're doing a little free agency talk for the Dundee League podcast. It's good to be back together with the squad. Can't wait for another good year of fantasy football and real football madness.
Is this the halfway point of the off season yet? We got a little ways to go.
We got like maybe a month or so when we hit the end of May. That's when it always feels like it starts getting real. When you get into June, July, things start to pick up a little bit. Then you start hearing about, holdouts. Then you start getting the training camp talk.
A little turf
You
toe.
know, you get a little, what's that show? Hard Knocks. You get a little hype on that. I'm good on that. You get a little hype around that. And then, there we are in the preseason. You guys think they're going to cut the preseason down even further?
Yeah.
You guys really
Mhm.
think that?
Yeah, nobody watches it. They don't make any money off of it. There's other ways that they can prepare their players without putting their health on the line.
I mean, this last year, nobody even played. Nobody that was even like none of the big offensive pieces really played barely at all. I mean, Rodgers didn't even suit up. I mean, he was on his holdout deal, but I think he might have suited up for like a drive or two in the last game.
Yeah, a bit of that holdout deal seems to have now included the preseason. Like every year, there's like I'm not going to be there for that.
That's part of the thing. It's like, yeah, give me a contract, and I don't want to play the preseason.
Yep.
Like they don't need.
Brett Favre did it 4 times.
Yeah, it's just
Did
not.
he really?
He really did. I didn't even know that.
He retired and held out on retirement until halfway through the 4th week of the preseason 3 different times.
Isn't that how he kept like switching teams? He would retire and then he'd come back.
Even before he ever left Green Bay, like he did that. He did that to him twice.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, he's
that.
like, he's like, I'm not here for. I don't need to be in training camp.
No.
This is my offense.
If you're a Hall of Fame quarterback, you don't need to be suiting up for vanilla looks in preseason. Like that does nothing for you.
And that's
maybe
even
gives you
worse.
some time with the rookies.
It's even worse for the NFL because those are the highest profile players. They're the ones that sell tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really see a reason for it. I mean, if you want to, I think they would be better suited to have more of the joint practices and then run 7-on-7 drills. Run 7-on-7 drills with no pads.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
If you want them to get a look and you want them to get some timing, do that. There'll be less injuries. You might get some of those fun joint practice brawls that we all love.
We do love those.
Which I always think is hilarious. It's like just they never allow that really at games, but it's just kind of like, yeah. So they had a fight at a joint practice, whatever.
They're playing in the hot sun. Give them a pass.
They do. They give them a pass.
They do give them a pass.
Because it creates buzz. And what other buzz do they have during training camp?
Yeah. No, I mean, for real. Like, they've done a decent job. Like, the Hard Knocks thing is a good idea.
It is.
Because you get, especially when it's like your guys' team.
That's always the most exciting thing.
Yeah. What'd you say? The Cowboys?
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys are pretty exciting. There's always some type of scandal or shit going on around that team.
It's true. Like, I mean, say what you will about their success rate, but man, ain't nobody sells tickets like the Dallas Cowboys.
Some type of like hidden daughter situation with the team owner paying him off. Like, you never know what's going on.
You know that he has got hundreds of illegitimate children.
Of course he does.
Yeah,
Of course he does. Jerry fucking Jones, dude.
Living his life.
Self-made billionaire. Anyhow. Should we get into the brass tacks, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
I mean, I see. That's why we're here.
Yeah, so the idea here, folks, is to break down some of the notable free agency moves and then maybe how it's going to affect the teams and the divisions. So Jake was kind enough to kind of compile some information for us by division. Just by nature, what's at the top of the sheet here, we got the NFC West. Obviously, the defending champs in that division. Makes sense to start there anyway. Top of our list here, we got Arizona Cardinals. Not a lot of huge moves in Arizona. Lost Christian Kirk. AJ Green's coming back. Just off the top of my head, just heard that. They re-signed Zach Ertz, re-signed James Conner. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, honestly, to sign James Conner to such a long contract as a running back. They're not paying him out the nose, but he's had one huge year. I mean, obviously big year, but
it's true.
What do you guys think?
He's had two big years. I feel like
he's had two.
Out.
Yeah, two. Well, he had one with Pittsburgh, but it was a while, and then he had a huge resurrection last year.
That's true.
Just touchdown machine.
And the one in Pittsburgh wasn't even a full season. It was the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I think the way they're looking is they got about a 3-year window if they're gonna do it. Because DeAndre's not going to be DeAndre forever. He took a ton of time off last year, so he might not be that guy anymore.
He might not be that guy anymore.
And they've got about 3 years to figure out if Kyler Murray can do it.
Yeah, which I think he can. And honestly, what I really think it is, to be honest, is I think Cliff Kingsbury is not the guy.
Really?
I don't think so, man.
You don't think really?
Absolutely not.
What makes you think that?
Look at the coaches you have in that division. He's not a better coach than McVay, obviously. I mean, McVay to me is top 5, if not top 3 right now.
I think
in terms of minds in the NFL. You have what's his face in San Francisco,
Kyle Shanahan.
I
think he's also very, very good.
Very, very good. I don't think Kyle Kingsbury is half what they are, to be honest, if you ask me. Pete Carroll obviously was one of those guys back in the day, but Pete Carroll self-admittedly said that most of his career has been made by the greatness of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's the one
defense they had.
Of course.
That's the one team in that division that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
they're irrelevant this year.
It's true. Well, yeah, they're irrelevant in the next window of championship season for that division because that division is stacked.
They're not. Seattle's not competing in the NFC for the next 2 years minimum.
2 years minimum.
They if they make good moves, they could start competing again. I mean, what, in 2024?
Yep.
Maybe if they draft well, make some good moves.
But minimum.
Minimum. They don't have a quarterback.
Yep.
And you get a rookie quarterback. He's not how many Joe Burrows are out there? Very few.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it just, to me, or, I mean, I guess there's been some quality rookies. Like you had Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen kind of developed quickly. But
they exist, but hindsight's 2020. There's
Exactly.
a lot of people that were just as touted as those people that didn't do a fucking thing.
Dwayne Haskins, I mean, not with us anymore, but he's an example of that. There's been several Ohio State quarterbacks that have been examples of that. I mean,
yeah. I think Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback, a good example. Goes number 1 overall above Josh Allen,
which is insane.
Oh,
but Baker came in.
Man.
Baker came in with a lot of promise. He played very well rookie season. He also got I don't like Baker as a person. I think he's kind of an ass. I mean, I don't really like his personality. He gets a little bit of a bad rap last year because the antics with OBJ, right? Okay, Jarvis was 50% Jarvis almost the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
That team always underperforms. Look at the injuries at running back. You lost both your stud running backs. I mean, you lost Njoku. Look at the injuries they had on offense.
Yeah.
And then
and they still did a lot for that franchise.
He's had 4 different head coaches in 4 years.
Exactly.
He's getting Alex Smith into oblivion.
Yeah. So is that Baker or is that the Browns?
Yeah.
You want a playoff game with that.
Exactly. I think he's gotten a little bit of an unfair rap. And also you have to remember last year, he was playing with a dislocated left shoulder.
Yeah.
For almost half the season.
Also have to remember it is Cleveland.
It is Cleveland.
Means something.
I always remember it's Cleveland.
You got to remember.
We're getting a little off target
The other
here.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Getting a little off target.
Yeah,
Arizona, defensively aging. Is Chandler Jones still there? I don't think so. I think
he's
Chandler
not.
Jones left.
Chandler Jones got paid to go somewhere.
They lose Chandler.
Is J.J. Watt hanging out?
I thought J.J. Watt, did he not retire?
I don't know.
Or he's got to be getting close. I mean, the guy can't stay healthy.
He can't be on the field.
Chandler Jones signed a 3-year, $51 million deal with the Raiders.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
God, I can't wait to talk about that division.
It's going to be fun. That's going to be there's going to be a lot of discussion about that one. But, I mean, I think the Arizona defense has got to be getting weaker, right? I mean, we'll see what they do in the draft. The offense still, I think, has some juice in it.
The defense can't not get weaker because the defense was, on paper, phenomenal.
They started the year great. I remember the first game when it was J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones party in the backfield the whole game long.
Chandler Jones had 5 sacks week 1.
Yeah, so
And then they brought in J.J. Watt.
Yeah, after that.
Yeah, which is insane. But like you have 2 old guys there, couldn't keep them healthy. Throughout the entire year when they were both on the field, it was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But Chandler's gone, JJ's old. I mean, we'll see what we got there. You got Buda Baker there, so obviously at the heart of that defense. But and you got some young talent. Isaiah Simmons is a physical freak. But they need some more pieces there.
I think they need a guy like Marcus Peters.
Yeah. A veteran,
a gnarly dude.
Yeah, like the type of guy that Akeem Talib used to be.
Yeah.
Your nose in, getting a fight or two.
It's true.
Yeah, get in their head as much as in their space.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good call. And then, that's pretty much it for Arizona, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's talk about LA. LA is fun. They made some moves. Was just singing the praises of Sean McVay. It seems like him and the front office are just in sync. There's a mind meld.
And they're not afraid to make moves because they had a big offseason last year. That's why they got to where they got to.
Instant payoff for all of that quarterback movement.
100%. And you still got, look at the defense. We'll go back to the offense. Obviously, that's more relevant to fantasy. But just look at the defensive moves alone. At every level, they have star power. The front 7, you got Bobby Wagner now coming in at middle linebacker.
Gross.
You have Aaron Donald in the middle of your defensive line. You have Fowler still there, who is a great, role player for that defense. Leonard Floyd,
There you go.
Is still there, I believe. And then you have Jalen Ramsey on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
There's just talent at all levels of that defense. That you have Pro Bowl caliber players at all levels.
Yeah. It's a fun team that they have put together there, and seeing that payoff from last season's offseason moves is so good because you see so many big things happen. People get excited about teams, and then they shit the bed. And it kind of gives like that air of like conservatism, and I'm like, I'm not trying to see that.
Fuck that.
No, I'm trying to get Matt Stafford out of Detroit, and put him in a Coliseum to where he can chuck it all day and see what he can do.
And then see him make funny commercials about it on TV for Progressive or whatever.
Yeah, I love that shit. I am so happy about Matt Stafford getting a ring.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
It's
I've
true.
always liked that guy.
Just made for a great storyline the whole postseason too.
It really did.
Shout
out to Dave.
Yeah, sorry, Dave.
Sorry, Dave.
Sorry about being wrong about that dude literally all season.
Sorry for him playing great in the Super Bowl and carrying them to a victory.
Oh man,
their defense and Cooper Cup. Oh, sorry. I was just going in for a second round.
Patrick competing with the laugh track.
Hey.
Patrick beating a laugh track.
Yeah, that's true.
You got a Hardy Midwest laugh. I put it to use. Dave should know something about that. Anyway, notable moves on the offense for the Rams. Allen Robinson, the lost man in Chicago, couldn't figure out how to get him the ball in Chicago. I still think he's a great talent. It's a great follow-up to the shitting on Dave. But,
so what do you think was his problem last year? Just the team, the quarterback?
He was a little banged up.
Matt Nagy
was
that was
terrible.
The whole thing?
Horrible play calling.
Because if it was just Matt Nagy, then Allen Robinson in LA is huge. Because that guy was a stud before.
Yeah. Think about the games where Justin Fields looked good. How did it look? It was Justin Fields being a phenomenal athlete.
There was a play or two where Justin Fields looked good. There wasn't a game, I don't think.
And you could just tell he could out-athlete.
There was some games
against Pittsburgh.
And against San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
He had a really good game against San Francisco, I believe, as well, where it was during the middle of the year, I believe. If I'm remembering right, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it was kind of in the middle of the year. San Francisco was a little bit banged up on defense. Because I remember, yes, it was San Francisco, because I remember Bosa's big ass chasing around the field, just couldn't catch him, right? Nice. And so I think Fields ran for 100 yards or something, threw for like 200, which was like huge for him to throw for 200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And they took him to the wire and lost.
Yeah,
that was one of his premier, games of the year, and that was 100% him just running for his life, being an athlete, figuring out how to find the gaps and just being fast as hell.
And games like
You
that
know.
have a way of wearing down a quarterback.
Absolutely, he could have just as easily in that game taken a big shot and been injured the rest of the year. Which is not good game planning.
You guys remember RG3 just being a better athlete than everybody on the
That
field?
guy was the
And
most
one knee injury.
electric quarterback.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, the arm power mixed with
When he was
that.
big.
I mean, that's what kind of what is so amazing about Lamar's ability. To be able to have done it for so many years now and stayed relatively healthy.
It's true.
He's had some injuries, but nothing catastrophic.
It's true.
Kyler, kind of the same thing. Kyler's had an injury too, but
Well,
Kyler's done it a lot as well.
I think this last year is so the end of the last season. We're talking about this division right now. James Conner, Zagreus hanging out for 3 years. I think the Kyler Murray show lasts for like a guaranteed 3 years right now because of what he looked like in the second half of the season when he wasn't fully healthy. And you have to imagine, realistically, when is Kyler Murray going to be healthy come week 10? Is that a thing? He's small and he runs a lot. He doesn't get hit a lot, but it doesn't take many to land.
But then also if he stops running so much, then he needs to develop as a pocket passer.
Yeah, it's true.
Big if.
That's true.
How many short quarterbacks have you seen do that? I mean, Drew Brees.
That's it. That's
the list.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can still move though.
Yeah.
I don't know that he runs less because it wasn't that he was just like a hard tackle. That man was untouchable for a number of weeks.
It was
you
pretty
couldn't
stupid.
touch him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like video game stuff.
It's true.
I mean, yeah.
He runs funny.
He does.
He runs
He
funny.
can
He's
run
like a
sideways as fast as I can run straight forward.
He's like those little dogs, when they get running, it looks like their butt's underneath them. They're just fucking moving like that. That's kind of how he looks when he runs.
He honestly, I think he runs like a toddler. He runs like a toddler.
Well, he's so small compared to everybody else, But anyway, we're getting in the weeds. You got Allen Robinson out there.
It's perfectly on task.
Yeah, it is.
We stayed in the division.
We did.
Yeah, we kept it in the division. What I'm trying to say is Allen Robinson, I think, out there. I mean, imagine this. If somehow you could,
Don't start.
No, it's all good. If somehow you could keep Cooper Kupp on that team, OBJ on that team, Allen Robinson on that team, and did Robert Woods sign anywhere else yet? He did. But so let's just say you keep those three together alone. You throw Higbee into the mix. Okay, you got Cam Akers back there.
Who looks good.
You got running backs back there. You got a decent old line. You lost your anchor with old man, 40-year-old Whitworth. But they'll figure it out. And you got Stafford at the helm. Who's to say they're not going to repeat? I mean, they got a great team.
It'd be hard to count against them right now. They just have a really good squad.
And they seem like they've even somehow widened the margin between them and the rest of their division.
It's going to be, I think the Bucs are going to be there again because Brady's coming back and they kept their core pieces down there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to bet against the Rams right now. And there's some other teams here we're going to talk about that I think are going to challenge as well. But Seattle, to talk about.
It's not going to be the one.
The Rams also signed a few offensive linemen. None of them really to note name-wise, so we'll just move on to Seattle. Seattle, I don't know if you guys want to spend a lot of time on it. Obviously,
I don't.
Lost Bobby Wagner, lost Russell Wilson.
They got Drew Lock now. How do you feel about that?
I mean,
that's awful.
The best piece they got there was Noah Fant. He's a tight end. It's irrelevant.
Noah Fant's career, it's just that poor man.
Poor man.
Poor man.
Really poor man. Terrible quarterback play. Maybe he gets lucky, and I don't see how the Seahawks don't draft a quarterback. But it's a bad year to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, and that might be enough reason not to.
That's what I would do. I don't see. I mean, if it was me, honestly, the best athlete that I see, the two best quarterbacks that I see out of the ones that I'm remembering right now is that Willis kid out of Liberty. Because he just looks like a freaking athlete. And could probably if he gets a little good coaching, he figures out how to play in the pocket a little bit, he could have a solid career. The Desmond Ridder kid out of Cincinnati, has a lot of poise, and I think he could play in the NFL too and could develop well. But that's a big if.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks that have like poise and everything get in the NFL, get on a bad team, and get crushed? I mean, remember what's his face in that was in St. Louis for those years that had such a good good career in college.
Talking about Sam Bradford.
Bradford.
Yeah.
Great quarterback, Heisman winner.
Yeah. I'm just not in love with like Oklahoma quarterbacks in the NFL.
I mean, Kyler's done well.
Yeah, Kyler's I think been the best example.
Jalen Hurts. What was Alabama though? No, then he went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, hell of a running back.
Great. Yeah. Should be more of like a Cordarrelle Patterson type guy. To be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah.
Than anything. Should
Probably.
not be a
He's
quarterback.
got hands.
He's great for fantasy though.
Yeah.
And I'm
great
gonna
for
draft
fantasy.
him low if he rents starting quarterback.
It's true.
So anyway.
Wait, scrub that.
Yeah, scrub that. Forget all that. We're 6 months out. Nobody in our league's gonna remember that. That's for real. Anyway. And also to add insult to injury for Seattle, and this is the last thing I'm really interested in talking about with them, is there's a lot of rumors right now that DK might be moving too. And I would love for him to come to Green Bay, but honestly,
Is that one of the teams that's been thrown around?
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of talk that they might make a move on him. Especially, I think it's going to depend on what happens in the draft. And the other team, the two teams that are rumored to be going after maybe DK would be Minnesota or Green Bay, because Minnesota is on the verge of losing Thielen. Thielen is almost, I don't know how many more years Thielen's got. He's getting old. He gets hurt every year. Still a touchdown machine, but there's going to be a year where he just can't do it anymore. And obviously they have Justin Jefferson there.
Says the Packers fan. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It says the Packers fan, but also, I mean, we all have eyes. Like, Thielen slowed down a little bit. He still can be a threat in the red zone.
A very little bit.
What's that?
I'd say a very little bit. I don't see it.
I just don't think. I mean, maybe I think he's fine this year. Probably.
I think optics are. It's a lot easier to imagine Adam Thielen being less than just because Justin Jefferson is also on that team.
That's true. He's definitely been overshadowed.
Like, Chris Carter's awesome, but Randy Moss is one of the greatest ever. You know what I mean? And like,
that's a really good comparison.
yeah, like.
But imagine this. Imagine Minnesota comes to Seattle and says, "We'll give you Adam Thielen and a piece on defense for DK and a third-round draft pick."
Yeah.
That could easily happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I was Minnesota, that's the move I'd be making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? DK and Justin Jefferson, like, let's go, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. And they've had some decent role players as a third wide receiver. But you guys want to talk about San Francisco?
Yeah, because that's the number 2 team then.
You think so?
It's between them and Arizona.
I think it's between them and Arizona. I think it's that.
Why?
If they stay healthy, they can never stay healthy in San Francisco, ever.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about betting on a team's health. You know what I mean?
Of course.
That seems tough.
Some teams have track records, though. You know.
Yeah, and then like some years they stay clean and they're better than everybody else because of it.
Well, like a few years ago with San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
if they hit with Trey Lance, if that's a win.
Have they fully committed to him yet?
He's got to be coming.
See,
in.
It's got to be him. It's got to be him. Jimmy Garoppolo's got to go.
I just find it hard to have the number 2 team in the Division One that we're still having a question about the quarterback.
Look, if they
had a
won,
question last year and they were great.
Yeah, they were.
But I still think Arizona was better.
Of course,
I think
during
they're
the
better
regular
again
season.
this year.
I think the way the season ended, I don't think Arizona.
The momentum was definitely not going their way.
Yeah.
But I think if you consider the entirety of the season now that it's over, I still think Arizona was
The
better.
problem in San Francisco is the secondary. Old and busted is the secondary. The middle linebacker core, obviously, you have one of the best middle linebackers in the league, who's young.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're fine there. Their front seven, I think, is fine if they can stay healthy again. Obviously, I mean, you have one of the best edge rushers in the league when he's healthy in Bosa. And you know, they're usually able to figure it out with the front seven. Their problem last year was their secondary for most of the year. They were old and they had a lot of injuries. So,
well, you know they're going to run the ball more than anybody else. So it's like their defense sits on the field a lot less than everybody else's too. And I don't imagine if we are to see Trey Lance, because again, you got to now, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to see Trey Lance, you got to be running the ball a ton, right? Like you're running the ball a ton.
Imagine the triple option plays they could run to kill
with Debo.
With Debo,
and any of their 6 running backs.
Debo, Elijah Mitchell, who came on last year. If he can have another healthy year, he looked great. He looked like he carried the load most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They have their other young guy who's going to have a whole other offseason with Shanahan. You know, and it's going to be shit to get off the pot with Shanahan because he has no patience if you don't get into his system quickly.
Yeah.
You know. And so you can bring those 2 guys in. Obviously, they lost most of you guys we were talking about a little bit, either on or off air. I don't remember. But they got those 2 guys. They got one of the best tight ends in the league, 1 or 2, you know, on any given year. You got Debo. You got the other kid that finally picked it back up. Ayuk in the second half of the year came on a little bit too. So they have a solid offense, and Shanahan, like you said, is going to be able to run the ball. So it comes down to, can they address the secondary in the draft, or can they get a veteran?
Well, and they did pick up the Chiefs cornerback Charvarius Ward, 3-year deal, $40 million. So
there you go.
Help a lot.
There you go. And then the one other thing here that sticks out to me, Orrin Burks.
Oh, they got they paid a safety too, so it looks like they got 2 veterans they're bringing in the secondary.
I don't know much about Odom. I don't know where he comes from, to be honest, right off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Ray McLeod, honestly,
Colts.
That's where George
Roman.
That's where George Roman came. So Ray McLeod, I believe, came from Pittsburgh, and he's not going to be on the field a lot on offense. He just is not that type of player, but he was electric on special teams.
He's a gadget player,
Absolutely.
and Kyle Shanahan likes gadget players.
Absolutely, and that's why I think they went and got him. And I think he's gonna add a little bit of something for him. I think
that's the number 2 team in that league.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, in that division.
Yeah. So we would say, at the end of it, I think LA is still the favorite in most of our minds. There's a little bit of a toss-up between San Francisco and Arizona. And now thinking about it more, I think San Francisco is number 2 as well, if you ask me.
Okay.
And then what did you have to say, Jake?
No, just
Seattle's definitely 4.
Very
clearly number 4.
Yeah. If there was a 5th team, Seattle would be 5th.
There's a clear 4 and a clear number 1 with LA. And then it's really 2 or 3 between Arizona and San Francisco. And we're before the draft, though. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with that. There's obviously more free agency to play, too. Mm-hmm. So we'll just see what happens. But that's where it's at right now, it seems like.
Yeah, I think we got that covered.
Should we go to the East?
Let's do it.
Why don't you guys kick it off with the boys, since that's your home team there. You guys have been probably following their moves. What do you have to say for the boys this offseason so far?
Thing that sticks out to me is the wide receiver moves. That's a lot of money to Michael Gallup, and I'm a fan of his, so I don't mind that. But it still hurts to lose Cooper
for a
veteran presence.
And Cedric Wilson, who could have bumped up into that 3 slot.
Cedric could easily fill. Cedric did fill Gallup's role.
He did.
So why are you paying him all that money when you can pay when you can pay Wilson less?
Yeah. Well, now Wilson's a Dolphin.
So. Yeah, he got paid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think I've seen that team, the Dallas Cowboys, get rid of some major talent because it didn't work out, and that's okay. But they are so easy to cut ties with major talent without getting any fucking value for it.
Trade him. If you were gonna do that, trade him during the year.
Yeah.
Get a couple picks.
Absolutely.
Trade him early.
Yeah.
Get a couple picks.
And in the moves that we saw just this offseason, we're talking about people getting paid. We're talking about free agents, but we're talking about trade value receivers. The market showed you a lot of examples, and it just feels like you didn't give we're gonna be fine.
Too ready to move on.
You could have got a second and third for Amari.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get a first.
No, you're not.
Got a second and third.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got a 6th.
Yeah, which is nothing.
It's nothing.
But you have to be so lucky.
Yeah, it's a lottery pick. Is all that is, and it's just. I don't know. That's the thing that definitely stands out.
I think Dalton Schultz, franchise tag, he's smart. Keep him around. He's proved himself.
Yeah. I like Leighton Vander Esch only getting $2 million for next year because I like having him there, but I don't want him taking up any of that fucking cap value.
Yeah, I think he's on his way out, which is really depressing because I had really high hopes for that guy.
Yeah, you got a jersey that man's.
Mm-hmm. And then you watch the way they got rid of Jalen Smith and Micah Parsons came to fruition. So
glad that jersey didn't come through.
They were so talented at linebacker just a few years ago.
Yeah,
and it's all done.
It is.
I mean, you got Micah Parsons, but he's not really a linebacker.
No, he's not.
You know what I mean?
I mean.
He can play.
Well, he's every bit of linebacker.
He can be anything he wants to be on that defense.
He's not an over-the-middle linebacker. Tom Brady proved that very quickly.
Okay, that was week 1. I don't want to hear that.
Hey,
Tom Brady's the greatest ever. Okay,
that's fair.
Yeah, he looked lost in the cover too.
Yeah. Against
everybody else.
Against Tom Brady.
Your first game in the league playing against the greatest of all time. And Patrick's giving you no fun.
Against not only
rookie of the year, Micah Parsons not getting any praise.
Hey, somebody's got to throw some water on those.
Are you
because we're getting
kidding me?
scorched over here.
Jesus,
that's fun.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Somebody's got to be the fucking non-homer for these Cowboy talks.
You literally tossed it to us and said, "Here, go ahead, guys," and then went, "Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna bring it back."
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. The fans know that.
Patrick released the doves and had a tennis racket in the other hand. Like, he just couldn't wait to, like, bat those bitches out the sky.
No, it's like one of those medieval fucking hunters where they just, I got like the fucking musket loaded and they just release the birds like 2 yards in front of me and I just fucking ripping them and I just exploding them, dude. That's what
Can't harvest any bird. It's just the act of killing that gets you off. This is not for resources.
Shit. And how dare you, if you're a starving villager try to kill a deer, we're gonna fucking hang you.
Oh,
That's right,
jeez.
that's the king's deer.
Oh my god. That's
Anyway.
crazy.
Off the rails.
Anyway, yeah, off the rails. It's on target. It's on
We just had to bring up the Dallas Cowboys once. Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Just wait till we get to the Packers. I'm sure there won't be any
it's gonna be
homering.
real fun. There's gonna
Yeah.
be some F birds flying. I've not been happy with their offseason.
You think your mom's gonna listen to this?
I hope so.
That's good. That's really good. I mean, okay, I think the Dallas Cowboys stay at the top of that division, though, don't they? That division's still sad. It's still sad.
I think the Commanders could surprise you.
Guys' videos we watched that was picking Washington to win the division.
Some people think so.
I can't remember his name. I'm having a brain fart right now. Nothing.
I'm talking about, Coward?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's the one
yeah.
probably listening. Yeah. He's like, I don't think Dallas. They might make the playoffs, but I don't think they win the division.
See, I just don't. I just can't believe in Washington.
I honestly think Philly is actually your biggest challenge in that division. I don't think it's
disagree.
Washington. I mean, Washington has the talent on defense, and they have some players on offense. Can they put it together? That organization is such a shit show.
Okay, so what can we agree on? The Giants are the worst?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay. So we agree that the Giants are the trash of the division. They're going to stay there.
I think Tyrod Taylor is a smart move for them, though.
Yeah, I do too.
To have somebody to come in and light a fire under Jones' ass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, for sure,
I think you mean have to come in and start games week 1.
I think there's a good chance of that.
Yeah, because I don't think it's don't think it's Danny.
That's
they're
fair
giving
because
him like one final shot with like the intent of just leapfrogging.
We're gonna see Danny play in the preseason. Is that what you're telling me?
well, and if you look at Tyrod's career, he's come into now. I believe this is his third team he's going to come into, and the last 2 he came into, he did win the starting job.
At least 3, right?
I mean, he came into LA, was going to be the starter, and then got his lung punctured
by a doctor.
And,
that seems like an inside move. That seems like an inside move.
Somebody knew something about Herbert and was like, "Hey, man,
look, realistically, he's better, but like Tyrod won the job, and I need y'all to do something."
So let's use a 1/4 inch longer needle on that bad boy, huh?
Just let a little bit of air.
Hey,
I've never heard of that happening before.
Ever.
Yeah.
But then again, we've never heard of a man going in for like not exactly a routine surgery, but then getting gangrene and almost losing his leg.
That's true.
That's Smith. So shit can happen.
I really feel bad for that guy.
Hey, he came back and reresurrected himself.
I know, but like
he got a lot of commercials off of that shit.
The thing we talked about is the Baker Mayfield thing earlier about like he did 6 different head coaches his first 6 years. Baker's 4 out of 4 right now.
Yeah.
Like,
fair. I mean, it's hard to be the guy that's sitting there and then have Patrick Mahomes come behind you and light the world on fire. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But
it's true.
I think
Patrick Mahomes is better as an NFL quarterback because he watched Alex Smith do it for a year.
Probably.
Yeah.
Same thing, Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, too.
Absolutely.
100%. Can't not be the case.
The Eagles, I guess. So are we done talking about the boys? You guys want to say anything else?
I mean, they brought in James Washington to keep that third receiver like slot strong. I still think that their receiving core is fantastic. Hopefully, we get more Tony Pollard and
CeeDee Lamb's gonna keep getting better.
We just, hopefully it's a downfield throwing offense because. I think Dak Prescott isn't going to be terribly accurate, so I don't want him to throw 40 times and make him throw 23 times a game and put it downfield.
Who's stretching the field?
Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup is the one to run all day.
100%. Yeah. And then James Washington will be your third guy, and he'll run the short routes. Mm-hmm. And then CeeDee's going to run the medium routes. Yeah. Yeah, and then Dalton underneath, too. Yeah, no, they'll be fine there. Zeke's obviously good at catching the ball in the backfield.
And they still got Pollard, so...
How about the offensive line, though? You lost Lyle Collins, but obviously
I hate that.
Contributed last year anyway.
I'm indifferent about that. I mean, it sucks because I don't think he was bad, but I think he's replaceable.
Do you think he's the same guy without the peds too? That's a question, right? That's a question.
How do you not have a guy?
100%. And of course he's going to be back on it. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
harder for them afterwards though because they go through a period where they're actually being tested kind of rigorously. I think when they get penalized.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of what happened to Clay Matthews too, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
The other thing about Dallas that sticks out that's not on the sheet is Randy Gregory losing him and the way that it went down. It just kind of the last second changed his mind a couple times. Going.
Oh yeah. Where did he win? Minnesota.
Denver.
Yeah. Just kind of shady.
It sucks. Yeah, because I was a big fan of Randy Gregory, and he was one of the biggest reasons why I was excited that the league wasn't testing for weed anymore. Because the dude couldn't not be on weed. That's how he lived his life.
He's a monster when he's on the field.
Yeah.
Absolute monster.
Yeah, he is. He should have been a first round talent. He got busted for weed at the combine, slipped to the second. We got a steal, lost a lot of time for that.
And he got a 5-year, $70 million contract out of them.
Yeah.
And got paid.
Yeah.
They saw how good he
good.
was.
Yeah. So he waited 5 years, $70 million for Denver. Yeah, that's a big contract. I mean, he was great last year. That defensive line was great last year.
Yeah.
But now, obviously Parsons great.
Well, you got Parsons and Lawrence still.
Tank's getting old though.
He is, but you still got the two biggest hitters on there, and Tank's not the best one anymore. He's not the double.
He doesn't have to be double. Well,
he's not the double team.
Yeah,
guy
who do you
anymore.
double team? You got to double team Parsons.
You have to.
Yeah,
that's not a question.
Yeah,
he's so good.
The weakness there. Malik Hooker they brought in. You still got old man Keanu Neal back there, don't they? Did they keep Neal or did they let him go?
No. They kept Neal. He plays more linebacker than anything.
So they'll be all right at safety.
Yeah.
And middle linebacker.
Trayvon Diggs is still hanging out.
Of course, one of the best young corners.
I don't know the
Diggs plays both ways though. He gives them up and he takes them though.
He does.
But
I think a little bit of that will probably change with age.
Probably.
But it comes with a little bit of wisdom.
Their second round pick corner last year, Kevin Johnson, I think, or Kelvin Johnson. Kelvin Johnson.
Yeah.
That's a news story right now. He's a person of interest. Kelvin Joseph?
Yeah.
Where did I get Johnson?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a person of interest in a murder case.
Luckily for him, though, it was ruled that he was not the man that fired the gun.
Yeah.
So he might be okay.
Yep.
So,
but
he's got a lot of money.
He's got a lot of money, and he was just in a car with someone while murdering was happening. So
it's true.
The league doesn't like that.
They don't like that. But that means what? He gets 8 games.
Honestly, probably 6.
That was
probably 6.
5.
I think 6.
Was there a video of him knocking out a woman in an elevator? If not, he's going to be fine.
Did he potato sack her?
Hey,
you can't do that.
Like me,
you can't do that.
For real though.
5 games on a public apology.
Fucking what's his face? Greg Hardy beat his woman to an inch of her life, and there was photos out there, and the man played the next year.
Because there wasn't video. So there's a video. Seems to be next day.
Yeah.
Remember, even Kareem Hunt with that one in the hotel.
Yeah. And I was I saw where Kareem Hunt was coming out.
or Tyreek Hill with the audio, or
that one was dirty.
That one was rough.
That was the son. Yeah.
That one gave us a real taste of his personality.
There's a real rap sheet here to go into. The NFL doesn't really care if you're good.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Ray Rice is the only one in memory that really got fucked.
Right? Yeah.
They needed an example for the first one.
And what an example did he give the world?
You can't knock a woman out and drag her unconscious body into an elevator and still play in the NFL.
Well,
that's the line.
Well, another part of Ray Rice's never getting in the NFL is that they got found out that they had that video months before everyone else did. Like, they saw it. And they're like,
I forgot
2 games.
about that, but you're right.
And then Team Z goes, no, we got it too.
Yeah.
And then they showed everybody, and they go,
yeah, like if we really give it to him, they'll
forget that we saw this and said it was cool. Ooh. And almost everybody has. Almost everybody forgot.
Anything in pro sports almost always is a court of public opinion. Does the public care enough to make us pay for this?
Yeah.
If they do, we will punish.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's how it works.
That's not debated.
100%. And the NFL is no different. They're just one of the worst.
I mean,
they have
the largest rosters and they have the most violent people.
Of course.
So, I mean, based on size and like the thing that you're asking these people to do,
of course,
it kind of makes sense that a lot of them aren't. I mean, not that it makes sense because nothing makes sense, but like if you're gonna have a group of people that all have something in common and not be suitable for society, it's the gladiators.
They
right?
all have one thing. The NFL says one thing over the NBA though. They never had a night where the players went into the stands and beat the shit out of fucking 30 people.
It's true. I think
that's
that's a lot harder.
Yeah, there's like a 10-foot gap. They put them in a bowl. That's by design.
I can see it even in a hockey arena.
Yeah,
but
if you go to
they're also wearing helmets.
The Roman Colosseum, the gladiators were not on the same. You couldn't get to stands with steps. They had tunnels.
These people have armor.
Yeah, they weren't.
Not only are they specimens,
they are separated.
You can't just walk into the stands and deck a guy.
No.
There's a reason.
They'd be like sticking a SWAT team on the kindergartners. It's just not cool.
Fucking A, dude. Oh, man. They should just
start resisting.
Just sanction a fight or two a game. Just sanction a fight or two a game like the NHL does. It would be fun.
Yeah. I mean, blitz the league. We've already talked about it. We can maybe touch on some USFL at some point in this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are watching.
Terrell Owens out there catching touchdowns.
Was he really?
What?
I missed that.
Yeah,
Terrell Owens is in the USFL?
I believe he is he's in one of them because there's the XFL now and the USFL.
Uh-huh.
And Terrell Owens
XFL.
was out there catching
more
the TD.
Oh, that's
catching that 50-50 ball for a touchdown, yeah.
That's exciting.
I believe I read that right. So if I'm wrong.
Well, that's a big claim if not.
Terrell Owens reacts to scoring touchdown from Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
So Johnny Manziel throwing this is arena football we're talking about.
Is it arena?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
this
still.
is arena football.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're good. The ultimate tease. But
no kidding.
It's still exciting.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel to Terrell Owens has happened. Someone made that happen.
Good for Johnny Manziel.
Good for Terrell Owens.
Well, Terrell Owens got money. Johnny Manziel.
No, I heard he does not.
He does not. He's been.
I heard Terrell Owens has been really bad with his money.
I think he did so much.
And Johnny Manziel comes from a rich family.
I think he did so much fake reality television.
Fair enough. The thing is with those guys though is
got their money exactly backwards.
The one thing that I was gonna say is that the one thing that I heard about this expressed it clearly to me at one point was what's his face, the guy who did Can't Touch This, but then MC Hammer.
Uh-huh.
So MC
Hammer,
living
in the left leg of his hammer.
MC Hammer, gets sued and all this shit for copyright infringement, all this other shit, right? And then it goes broke, and then somebody asked him at one point in the interview, how are you doing financially? And he's like, well, I'm broke and all this other stuff. And then the person's like, what does that mean? And then saying are you living on the streets or whatever? And he says to him, it's like, listen, MC Hammer broke is different than normal broke. MC Hammer broke means MC Hammer's only got $2 million. Okay, so that's kind of what I mean about Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens broke means he's selling a $40 million home because he can't afford it anymore. You know what I mean? I think they
overextended.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's what's happened to both of those. MC Hammer's road crew was 600 people deep. They had 400 people dancing on the stage, and he paid them all.
So he's not MC Hammer anymore. The man's still doing it.
Yeah, he had big expenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The place where they get in trouble is when they owe out of tax.
And even if you are flat broke, you don't have a dollar to your name. Your name has value that's inherent because you can just show up somewhere and they'll pay you $30,000.
And also, T.O., I guarantee you, is getting T.O. gets a pension from the NFL.
Does he?
Yeah, absolutely. Brendan Schaub has spoke about this before. It's the only reason I know about it. When you play a certain number of years in the NFL, you actually get a pension.
Oh, good for them.
You do. You get a certain amount per year. Now, if you're Terrell Owens and you want to spend $10 million a year, your $100,000 pension ain't going to go real far.
Right.
But you do get a pension. And if you get in the Hall of Fame, if you're a Hall of Fame level player, that's where you get the highest amount of pension in healthcare.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, apparently it's how it works.
So be good if you're going to break your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If you get in the Hall of Fame, they take care of it.
Gotcha.
For the sake of the conversation, as of 2022, Terrell Owens' net worth is approximately $500,000.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That man is playing for the Zappers. Okay.
Hey, well, whatever, dude. They say net worth, it's probably, he probably owes a fuck ton of money. Yeah. Probably dug himself a deep hole of debt.
Yeah. But again, $500,000.
Right, I would feel okay.
Yeah, I would feel rad about having $500,000.
That's more than us three combined, probably.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? So,
you know what? One day, that's not
going to be sponsor us.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Brought to you by Midway Games.
That's right.
Maker of Blitz the League 2.
We will even sponsor. We'll accept sponsors from anybody. Let's be real here. Yeah. All right.
Even the
Halliburton, you want to sponsor us?
New York Football Giants.
New York Giants. Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, let's just wrap up the rest of the division and then move on to the next one.
We're still first page.
Yeah, we got to pick it up.
Eagles' biggest move.
Son Reddick.
Uh-huh.
And also been in that. So the two things I want to talk about real quick
he deleted that tweet.
Was that who's that?
Honey Badger.
Oh, that he was going to Philly.
He deleted that tweet.
Yeah, he's going to Philly though.
You think so?
I think so.
Why would you want to go to Philly if you're Tyrann Mathieu?
They have a decent defense. They're not a terrible because you look at it. Okay, you're Tyrann Mathieu. You have Darius Slay there.
Re-signed Fletcher Cox.
You have Fletcher Cox. Okay, you got a good
Cox
defense.
is ancient.
They had a decent defense last year at points. They were exposed in the secondary a lot.
Yeah, they were exposed anytime they didn't play anybody in the NFC East.
They needed safety. So you bring Tyrann Mathieu in. You got Darius
Plus
Slay.
Atlanta.
Go find what they could do in the draft that would be smart. Try to go get Derek Stingley. He's the best cornerback in the draft from LSU. You could get him, put him across from Darius Slay. He can play cornerback too. You got Tyrann Mathieu. You got Fletcher Cox in the middle. You got Hassan Reddick coming in, who's a physical player at defensive end. He did all right for Arizona. I believe is where he was before.
He was Carolina.
Carolina. He was with Arizona for a while, and then.
And do you think what they've done is gonna put Philly in the number one spot in that?
No, but I think they're gonna be able to compete with Dallas more than they were last year. Dallas has lost pieces, and some of their pieces are aging. If they pick up Tyrann Mathieu, that's a way bigger move than anything I see here on Dallas' sheet so far. You know what I mean? So you lose Amari Cooper, you re-sign a bunch of guys, you bring in James Washington, Philly keeps almost everybody, brings in Reddick, signs Tyrann Mathieu, has a decent draft. These are all caveats. Mm-hmm. They could compete.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Okay.
Giants are terrible. We covered that. Tyrod Taylor's probably going to have the starting job. Commanders, the big news there is they get Carson Wentz, which I don't know if that's news.
No, the biggest news is they have a team name. Like, let's be honest. Like, that's like the
honestly,
most exciting thing going on over there.
I felt like they should have just been the Washington football team. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I hated the Washington football team as a title, but since you committed to doing it like once, hang in there. Just hang in there. You already did it. You couldn't find a name to start with. You're gonna get one now.
Also, the Commanders is a terrible.
Commanders are so lame.
It's not raw off the tongue at all.
No, it doesn't.
You know, I mean,
it doesn't even bring an image to mind. Like Eagle, cool. Giant, Cowboy, cool. Commander,
it's rough. It's rough.
No, it's like a type of bird.
Dan Snyder's an awful owner.
He is.
Well, and also
he's a piece of shit.
He's being investigated for massive corruption as we speak, so he may no longer be the owner.
Yeah, they might kick him out.
Yeah,
they might kick him out.
He might be.
No, but he just kind of seems like an awful individual.
Oh, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Listen to Matt Barrett. Matt Barrett all about it because he's been a Washington fan his whole life.
Oh,
He has nothing good to say about their management.
Yeah, I guess Dan Snyder was withholding like funds from like their ticket sales, which they are part of a collecting agreement where they all share like profits.
A lot of shady financial things going on.
Like how are you a billionaire stealing money from other billionaires, man?
Also, need we forget that they had a subpar team physician
almost kill Alex Smith.
They almost kill Alex Smith, and then right after that, their lead physician for their team gets indicted on drug trafficking charges.
Jesus.
And so last year they literally were running like a skeleton crew for their like team, physician staff, whatever you want to call it, doctoral staff, medical staff is the right word, I guess.
Good Lord.
But
I don't think that's
franchise.
I do not think that's the team to win that division either.
No. If their defensive talent would show up, they could.
Yeah, but it's got to be all of them.
It's their defense was so. I mean, we talked about it all last year.
Mm-hmm.
They were non-existent, and they had all the names.
In some ways, I think that Carson Wentz has been banished to Washington.
Yes.
Well, he was the golden child coming into the league, and then he went. Yeah, then went to Indy. And now he's getting kicked to Washington. Now that he didn't make that work either.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't do it with the coach that you had the most success with. So, now you're done.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Go to Washington, see if you could salvage something with this struggling team.
And for the people that are saying they upgraded quarterback, yeah, they upgraded quarterback, but at what point do you think you're even getting the Carson Wentz of the first half of last year's season? Like the Carson Wentz that you're getting every time down the line isn't going to be as good as the other Carson Wentz.
He's too inconsistent. He has flashes in the pan where he looks like
big man, strong dude.
And other times where it's like, why did you do that?
Well, yeah, remember the play last year where he just kind of panicked, shuffles it out of the fucking end zone.
He gets
costs them the game.
All you have to
gave away a touchdown.
All you have to do is beat Jacksonville, and you're in the playoffs as one of the hottest teams in the NFL.
And you implode. And you have the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
A guy who can win games on his own.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't translate in the cold
and
in the playoffs.
I got to be honest. I think Carson Wentz might not be an upgrade over Taylor Heineke.
They're similar.
Tough.
He's a better player.
That's tough.
He's got a better arm. He definitely does.
Heineke's got that heart though. It's like when
in
Case
2022.
I love Heineke.
It's like when Case Keenum
we're not talking Carson Wentz a couple years ago.
And had that big end of the season, and then he got replaced by Kirk Cousins, Mr. Mediocre. It kind of feels a little bit like that.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It does. But if you're talking NFL mind wise, I can see why they wanted Carson Wentz because he's had more proven success, even though it was a while ago, than Tyler Heineke ever has had. And Tyler Heineke was never slotted to be a starting quarterback.
Was Carson Wentz the one overall, or was Jared Goff that year? It was Wentz number one.
I believe it was Wentz number one, yeah.
Former number one pick carries the title of itself.
And played great. I mean, was the MVP really that year until he got hurt.
Yeah, he was.
He would have won it if he would not have gotten hurt at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They would have won the Super Bowl.
No, they
without
didn't. The
no, with the Nick Foles magic.
Nick Foles was nasty.
He was. Big Dick Nick.
You guys want to move? You guys want to move on to NFC South?
Let's do it.
Yeah, now that we all agree that the Cowboys are going to win that division again, move on.
We got some Duck fans in the house, so we can talk about Marcus Mariota going to Falcons.
Probably going to start there.
Yeah,
probably going to start, right?
Probably going to have a better year than Carson Wentz.
Do we think Atlanta does anything though? Do we think Calvin Ridley is gonna play?
No, Calvin Ridley's not going to play again.
Why not?
Think so?
Yeah, because he was.
He got in trouble. Games. Yeah, fuck. Which is so stupid.
Yeah.
It was like $1,000 bet too.
Yep.
It's like nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It is bullshit.
What a stupid thing to go down for.
Yeah. Casey Hayward's a good signing for them. He's an all right cornerback. He's like mid-level guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know. They didn't need anything on that defense. Is better what they had last year.
They're gonna sell some tickets based on Mariota and Patterson. They're you know what I mean? Like
Patterson's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
I think,
and they're not gonna compete.
Patterson strikes me as the kind of guy that there's another. He changed his game, so he's able to kind of take advantage of some teams and some gaps.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the kind of guy that you give other teams a whole offseason to look at again.
Flash in the pan.
Yeah, I think he's going to round out.
Because he does everything.
Hear that, Erica?
Return to the mean.
Don't be banking on quarter out next year like you
Maybe I'm just jaded because I got the other one in the trade this year in fantasy.
That could be. I mean, he does everything that Deebo Samuels does, but he does it with about 80% of the athleticism
in about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just don't think he is.
Yeah. I mean, and the receiving ability on Deebo's side is
again having a really great gadget player. And I don't gadget seems like lessening their actual usage, but someone who can do so much is good on a good team. And on a bad team, it just doesn't make that much sense.
Are they going to win a game next year?
Yeah, they're going to win a game.
Atlanta?
They're going to win a game.
The person they're paying with the biggest contract this offseason is their kicker for a 5-year, $24 million.
They're going to win a game.
I mean,
because
they're going to win it because of Young Huff.
Yeah. It'll probably. I mean,
I don't see
Detroit
anybody.
Finally did it. You know what I mean?
You know what? Damian Williams is going to be a solid backup to Cordero. Damian Williams and Cordero actually might be able to carry the
I would agree with that.
They'll be able to run it a little bit. They're going to win a game.
Who's on their offensive line, though? Their offensive line was horrendous last year.
Yeah, and it's not going to get any
better.
And
if you don't have Calvin Ridley, who's catching the ball? And you have
Daryl Patterson.
Tight end.
No, you don't
You got tight end.
You got Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. He's catching balls.
You do got Kyle Pitts.
They need to move him.
And he'll be better. He'll be better this year. That's a good point. I forgot about Pitts.
I would like to see Kyle Pitts on a team that's not going to be irrelevant for the next 4 years.
They could. You know who they could beat in the NFC?
Seattle,
and Seattle and New York.
And Detroit.
Yeah.
And Detroit. Everyone can beat
I don't
Detroit.
know. Yeah, everybody
Everybody
can always
can.
beat Detroit,
And
but
they could
Detroit
probably
man,
beat Chicago
fights hard,
on-
dude.
I'm not saying Detroit's worse than them. I'm saying they can beat
I
Detroit.
think they could take
That's
Chicago
true.
too.
Yeah, they probably can
Yeah.
because Justin Fields is not it.
I disagree.
You hear me, Dave?
I mean, in your defense, Dave, I think Justin Fields is it, and I think that's probably the best pick that the Bears have made in the draft for quite a while.
So, when's the last Ohio State quarterback to win a playoff game?
I don't know.
I don't have that stat.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's like I'm not that good.
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Well, actually,
If Patrick would have told us that, I'm like, all right, guys,
Well, actually,
I'll see you next
What
year.
else you got?
just see the door close. All right, I'm out of here.
And I'm gone.
And that's a wrap.
Check my crystal ball.
Atlanta sucks. They're probably the worst in that division,
Yeah.
even though you have Carolina in that division. There's way more talent on Carolina's team.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we get
Carolina's
to
got great
see
defense.
someone competing with the NFC East for worst division next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got Jameis Winston leading the show.
Jameis Winston
he did
in New
admirably.
Orleans.
Man,
We're winning a ton of games, and then he got hurt, and it all fell apart.
They were doing that.
But Sean Payton's gone now too.
Yeah, that's
That's the big one. That's the big one.
That's the big
Sean
one.
Payton said, "You know what? I just don't see it."
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
The writing
because
was
I
on
don't
the
see
wall.
it either.
Yeah.
You know?
Can't wait to get Sean Payton in Dallas. That's gonna be nice.
They've lost that. They also lost their veteran safety who retired,
Mhm.
but they brought in Marcus May. We're skipping over Carolina, so if you guys want to jump in on that,
Do we need to talk about
I
Carolina?
don't really, except for Xavier Woods, I don't recognize any of the other names. I know that Austin Corbett's a
Dante
good player,
Jackson
but
is an important re-signing for them. Speedster on the corner. Ioannidis is a decent defensive tackle.
yeah, they
Austin
look to be
Corbett's
loading
good at
up on
guard.
defense, don't they?
Well,
Loaded up on defense and picked up a few. Austin Corbett's an all right guard. He came from the Jets, I believe. Corey Littleton was from the Rams, I think. Was
Yeah.
a decent role player for them.
mhm.
Raiders, came from the Raiders. They also picked up
Okay.
Deontay Foreman from the Titans as well. So
Who-
serve as a decent
okay.
backup.
Yeah, Deontay Foreman actually. There was a little bit of buzz there for a second.
Little bit.
If he could stay healthy for a year, he's just getting old now. He's been injured for 6 years. It feels like
Yeah, he might just be done.
it's hard. After if you haven't made it your first 5 years as a running back, it's a hard sell.
Well, hard impossible to sell at that point. That's your career is 6 years.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
And a 1 year, $2 million deal.
multiple
Sounds a lot of
ACL
confidence.
teams.
sounds like
Yeah.
$2 million free dollars. Way to go, you.
Yeah, you came back and scooped up.
Here's
a
your
$2 million
severance
bag.
pay from the league.
Yeah, no kid. Hey, get that leg like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You know.
How many ACL tears? 2, 3? Like,
Don't know. Too many.
but anyway, it's
More than
irrelevant. The biggest news in Carolina is quarterback. You have
Yeah.
Darnold there.
Yeah.
There's rumor that they're going to go after Baker. Since
I like that.
which would be fun to talk about. What the quarterback's going to be like in Cleveland.
I would like that a lot.
And then it's either they're going to go after Baker or they're going to go after somebody in the draft. They have to. Sam
Yeah.
Darnold's not it.
No, he
That's
ain't
the
it.
deal.
No.
I rode him to a couple fantasy wins last year, to my great chagrin, and then to my great pride, and then chagrin when he just fell off the map hard.
Yeah.
It was fun when he ran in a few touchdowns on your boys, though. I think I beat one of you that week when you did that.
I'm
too.
sure it was me.
It was.
It was because you beat me, but I beat him.
I'll never
on
get
Sam
cultured
Darnold's
by that motherfucker.
the fucking ginger fucking stallion himself, Anyway, I was trying to be him something better, but that's the best.
No, it's good. They rhyme. That's nice.
They don't rhyme at all.
Yep, that's why it's fun.
It's better when you explain the joke. New
Yeah,
Orleans.
we can get out of Carolina. New Orleans, they got
No
Sean Payton.
moves. Yeah.
No
Jameis
Sean
Winston
Payton.
and Marcus May. And they just nothing else. to talk
Yeah,
about.
so I got to see them have a little success.
What did they do in the draft? What do you think they do in the draft?
Well, it depends. If they think they got their guy a head coach, then
Anything. They've got so many gaps, I feel like. They're like,
More on offense than defense.
yeah, no, their defense is solid. I think
They're getting old, but they're okay.
I think you build. I think you get a receiver and you go get some offensive line pieces and hope that either next year or through a trade you can get a quarterback somewhere. I just don't know, because I don't think you're bringing a guy in, a new head coach, new career, new anything, and Jameis Winston's your guy in the next 3 years. And how long they got him? No, they got 2 years. So
2 years.
you know what I'm saying? So I think you start building for what's after Jameis Winston because Tampa Bay has got Tom Brady until he decides he doesn't want to play anymore.
They got him at least for this
year. Do you deal Kamara then at some point? Because you're not.
Kamara's not going to play anymore because he beat up a guy in a hotel lobby in Vegas.
Oh,
and
yeah.
is going to jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they also lost Alvin Kamara.
Oh,
is he going to jail?
Yeah.
For real?
I don't want to keep saying yes and that go the other way, but there was video of it. There was video of it.
Yeah, he's in trouble then. I don't even remember. I do remember hearing about that. This is how much crazy shit's happening. The Super Bowl was 2 months ago. Listen to all this shit. I mean, it's already been going on.
Some big name people too.
Michael Thomas, does he want to even play there anymore? I mean, look at all the problems they've had with him and his surgery and not playing and all this other shit. I mean, I've been saying all offseason, if I'm Green Bay, go for DK, go for Michael Thomas. I don't know why they don't do it. I don't know why nobody's going after Michael Thomas. Okay? I feel like you could get Michael Thomas fresh off of surgery. Obviously, you're taking a risk. But 2 years ago, he was the greatest wide receiver, okay? He had one of the greatest seasons wide receivers ever had in the entire NFL 2 years ago. Okay?
It's a long time in the NFL.
But I understand. But, you get a precision passer, a veteran quarterback, a la Drew Brees, a la Aaron Rodgers. Or, there's other – I mean –
well, then perhaps
Tampa Bay, go move one of your big pieces. Can you imagine Mike Thomas with the other two?
Do you think the Saints are going to let Michael Thomas go?
Yeah, not in division. That's
no
crazy.
Fucking way.
That's getting crazy. But let's look at AFC. Okay, think about AFC. Think about Mike Thomas for Denver. Doesn't make sense because they got 3 wide receivers there already. But you get what I'm saying.
Well, maybe it just all starts with the Saints then. Maybe they just don't want to move him because they believe in him as much as you do. You know what I mean?
I believe in him. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be as talented as he was before.
I just think that's the reason he's not going anywhere because the Saints were like, hey, man, we lost Kamara, we lost Drew Brees, we lost Sean Payton.
Gotta have something.
I'm going to hold on to this guy.
Yeah, he's like the last piece. Him and Cam Jordan.
You got to have someone to put on the posters outside the stadium.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah. Cam Jordan looks good on posters.
Because then your fans revolt and go.
What's that?
I said because if you don't have that, then you don't sell jerseys.
You're right.
Fans start to revolt.
Yeah.
It's a big money thing about keeping honestly I think the reason if DK Metcalf isn't on a new team before the season starts a big reason of that is this exact conversation.
100%. I mean, who else do you put on the poster in Seattle? You don't have anybody up. Rashad Penny. Yeah, put fucking Will Dissly up there. Come on,
you paid a lot of money.
Fucking Big Montana. All the footballers. It's funny. Every time he would catch a touchdown, they would play a fucking Western fucking drive song.
Oh no!
That was funny.
Hey, don't forget about Drew Lock. You can put him on a poster.
Hey, there you go. That fucking
and Noah Fant
punch in the face.
Put him right in Russell's slot.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. If Drew Lock walked in there, I wouldn't know who he is.
Me neither. Say with Noah Fant.
I would have an inkling, but yeah.
I happened to see Noah Fant on a TV sometime in the last week, so he would stand out.
Okay.
And he's the size of Noah Fant.
I played Madden too much, so I fucking seen all their little pictures and shit on there, so I know a lot of the faces. But
Drew Lock's one of the animated ones.
Yeah.
They don't even have a real photo of him.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah,
it's good enough.
No.
Drew Lock brought to you by Unreal Engine 5.
No. You have the new Madden still has the players have been in the league for a year or two. They got their real pictures on there. When you're in some of the
we'll fact check it later.
Yeah.
They definitely do.
Yeah, when I smoke you in Madden later, we'll see a Drew Lock picture.
So we can all
I bet it is. But anyway, we gotta keep it moving.
We can all agree that Tampa's the best still in this division.
Tampa's the best. I think it's between Atlanta and Carolina. I mean, it's a toss-up between the other three. Atlanta, I think, is the worst.
Yeah, I think
because they don't have any defense.
Yeah.
The other two at least have defense to offer and some players. Carolina's probably number 2.
There's a clear 1 with 2 3s and a 4.
Yeah. I think Carolina's number 2. Saints are 3. Atlanta's 4.
I think Saints 2.
With no Sean Payton, I don't think so.
I know. I don't feel good about it, but I just think it's 1 3 3 4. And
who's backing up Kamara?
That's wild to me because I just think Jameis Winston shit. I think he showed a little stretch where he
Yeah.
Just kind of reminding people that he has potential, but I think he goes right back
But
to
look at
throwing
who he
4
did it with
interceptions in a
last year,
game.
though. If they had Mike Thomas and Kamara on the field, he would have a chance.
They
He's
did.
had good receivers.
They did
before.
have a high draft pick in Callaway this last year for receiver too.
He had a few games.
Yeah.
He had a couple. He had a 4-catch, 150-yard, 2-touchdown game.
Mm-hmm.
Just huge bombs.
Hey, maybe he turns around. Yeah.
I'm
not turns around.
have
Sorry,
a big arm.
but he'll be coming into his second year. And receivers in their second year are always like that. Seems to be like the position where you're gonna know if a guy has it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys want to talk about Tampa Bay?
Yeah. The receivers, if you look at that, since we were talking about how they're even better now. I know they got rid of Antonio Brown because that big blowout episode he had. But it looks like they signed Russell Gage for a 3-year deal out of Atlanta, their division rival. And then they re-signed Chris Godwin to a ridiculous contract.
And Russell Gage is going to be like at least 40% better with playing with Tom Brady.
Oh, 100%.
How good does Russell Gage must feel? Getting out of Atlanta and going to Tampa.
Oh my God!
I guess to go back to Atlanta and beat up on him.
Going from a bottom 3 in the conference team
to get Tom
in the league,
top 5. Yeah, in the league.
Yeah,
not bottom 3, but
the greatest quarterback of all time.
Bottom 4 of the league for sure.
Atlanta's definitely bottom 3.
No, Atlanta bottom 3. You think Atlanta is worse than? You think Atlanta is worse than Detroit, New York? Jacksonville.
I think they're worse.
Jacksonville's got a lot of draft capital.
I think they're worse than New York. I think they're worse than Jacksonville because of Jacksonville's potential with Trevor Lawrence and draft capital.
I think they're equal to New York.
I think they're equal to Detroit.
I don't know. I think Detroit's better. I think Detroit believes in their coach. I think they got players that play hard and they got a lot of young talent. I don't think Atlanta has that.
God, you should be a Lions fan because if they could all just feel that way.
I want to root for Detroit so
I do.
Take wins away from Chicago and Minnesota and they just always lose to us. That'd be great.
but we agree that they're last in the NFC South. We agree that the Bucks are first.
Yeah.
And is there contention between 2 and 3? You say the Saints are 2. I think I'd side with Patrick that the Panthers are probably 2 with these additions.
That's what I think so.
Defense.
And their defense was so good last year.
Yeah.
But defense can change quick.
Yeah.
It can be great one year, and then terrible the next.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on health and just how well the group melts together in the offseason, really, is what it comes down to.
It's true.
The Bucks, obviously, big deal getting Chris Godwin and Carlton Davis and Ryan Jensen and Lenny and Tom Brady back. They got all the pieces there. Their defense is going to be solid. They got Brady back. Their offense is going to be solid. I think Gronk is still up in the air whether he's going to play this year or not.
Which means he probably will.
I mean, if Brady's back, Gronk's probably coming back.
Yeah. It's just eventually. At some point, Father Time's going to win.
I mean, we keep saying it.
I mean, it's happened to everybody else. So, who knows?
He won MVP last year.
He's so incredibly good, but when it happens,
it's going to
be brutal.
It is not going to be gradual. Because he's too old for it to be gradual.
It's going to be an injury, right? Because when you're older, there has to be an injury.
It's going to be an injury. Yeah. That's what happened to Peyton. Peyton winning Super Bowls, neck injury, done.
Yeah.
Can't come back from it.
It's true.
And actually, the crazy thing was, he came back from one neck injury, won the Super Bowl, and then had another one.
He got carried by his defense to the one.
I mean, he won the Super
He
Bowl.
played well, but it helps to have Von Miller tearing it up.
I mean, it's a team game.
Yeah. And he had Aqib Talib back there when Aqib Talib was Aqib Talib.
It wasn't subtle either. He got clearly carried in that.
They had a great defense.
You different. I mean, they did have a great defense, but clearly carried.
He didn't contribute that season, towards the end at all.
Yeah.
Not just even in the Super Bowl, I guess.
He had to take some time off.
Him and Demaryius Thomas.
What was Osweiler they had starting there for a little while? That's how much of a contributing factor Peyton Manning was.
Demaryius Thomas and him had a hell of a year that year, though.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a year. But anyway, the only other news on Tampa Bay is Bruce Arians is no longer going to be a head coach. He's going to be front office.
Yep.
That's fine. I
don't think it means much.
I remember Bruce Arians talking last year about how he loved having Tom Brady there because there were times when he could just let him do whatever he wanted, have him coach from the field. I'm like, so you're doing your job? Yeah, of course you fucking love that. That'd be fantastic.
It's like
Coach would put that man in the hospital. He needs to take some time.
It's like Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how much coaching is LaFleur really doing?
How are you ever going to be a first-year coach or a second-year coach, or not so much maybe his place, but something that's not really achieved, and you got one of the greatest of all times at quarterback. How are you going to tell him no?
Yeah. It's like Peyton
wants
with
to
the
do
Colts too. Like when Peyton was with the Colts, and he basically just had free reign to call whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Remember those great years where it'd be Peyton out there for like 20 seconds on the play clock, like literally making yeah. Hey, we almost misspoke. We almost did.
I heard you say cock.
Sorry, Mom. I did a little bit of a shallow L.
Little Freudian slip there.
We'll play
cock.
You remember Peyton out there on the play cock, and he was just out there calling plays.
Oh man.
Shit. Anyway, okay, let's move on to this.
Moving on to the NFC North.
Play cock. To talk about
play cock, Chicago Bears.
Talking about.
Hey, you know what they say.
At least we're not Detroit.
Oh God,
that's
what
they say.
They do say that.
They say that.
Did they lose Nagy? Is Nagy still a coach?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Gone, right?
I thought he was gone.
I feel like he's supposed to be gone. I just don't know if anyone's told him.
I believe he's gone.
I think they announced it during the season.
I also believe he's gone. Cody's gonna fact check it so we can.
The Bears signings so far, I mean,
pretty lackluster.
Yeah,
nothing Matt Nagy's an assistant quarterbacks coach in Kansas City right now.
Good. It's where he belongs. Anyway, I mean, he's not a head coach. He's just not. Yeah, nobody here, no big names, maybe some solid role players. I don't know. No big contracts, really. None of them more than 2 years. They get Aeroflus. Okay. I don't know if that's a great movie.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the
guy. But, yeah, I remember reading that. Weird name, but got to be better than the Budget Magician.
I've never heard any of these names. There's roughly 10 or 12 re-signings or new signings that the Bears made, and not a single high target.
I mean, nothing to write home about. I think they might have picked up some decent draft capital. I mean, we're an hour 15 at this point, folks. Come on now.
We're not halfway down, Patrick.
Yeah, I know. We got to pick up the pace. We're gonna go. You know what? Gives a fuck. If you want to listen,
this is special. Yeah,
this is a special fucking pod. You know, we're doing it in the middle of off season.
The podcock.
It's a podcock. All right. That means it's gonna be extra long.
Chock full of cock pods.
Extra meaty. All right. Anyway, there's a lot of content in that podcock. Anyway,
it's girthy.
Thank you.
We're just gonna milk that joke.
We'd rather talk about anything than the Chicago Bears. Huh?
Yeah, I'd rather talk about penis.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing here for us. I mean, I think the most promise you have. They lost Damian Williams too, because they got the great young. They got Herbert there, and then they got the other kid that got hurt, Montgomery.
There you go.
So they got running backs. I don't know what they've done with the O-line. Lucas Patrick is an okay offensive lineman. I only know about him because of the Packers. He came over from there. He's nothing to write home about. I don't think it's a huge improvement. They need to do something with the O-line in the draft to help out Fields. And I honestly feel like they need another wide receiver.
Yeah.
In order for that offense to be competent. Not
Absolutely.
Good. Competent.
Well, in the NFL, you have to have multiple wide receivers now. Like
you gotta have at least two.
Yeah, every team has two studs now.
Yeah.
And every time I get excited about talking about one of my teams, is when I excited about. I remember I was thinking to myself, these two guys. But then you look at every roster, everyone's got two guys.
Everybody's got two guys.
Yeah.
The only teams that don't.
They're paying so much money to receivers now that anyone who's a star athlete is I'm going out wide.
Yeah.
That's where we're playing.
There's a few teams that come to mind that don't. The Bears, a lot of them are in this division.
Yeah, you're right.
The Bears, the Lions, and the Packers.
You're right.
All three of them.
Oh my!
You're right.
They don't have any. There's not a lot of wide receiver talent in the NFC North right now.
No, it's in Minnesota.
It's all in Minnesota.
All of it.
You're right, and that's a huge problem for these other three teams, which I honestly think
because the number 1 and number 2 receivers.
Jumping the gun a little bit here, but I think Minnesota's the best team in that division. Actually.
I think they are because
right
of
now,
Devontae Adams.
Absolutely.
I think you're absolutely correct.
Did Zadarius Smith really go to Minnesota? That is crazy that they let that happen.
Isn't that wild?
That's insane.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah,
Where did he come from?
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Oh yeah.
Injured last year, but was an absolute stud for a couple of years.
Stud.
And even last year with Green Bay had some games where he made a difference.
Yeah, looks to be the case. 3 years, $42 million.
Getting old though. Can't stay healthy. Didn't stay healthy last year, but we'll see. Definitely when he is healthy, it's a fucking force off the edge, though. I mean,
he's getting a girthy contract too, so they're
hoping
for good things.
There's a reason for that. He dominates off the edge when he's healthy.
Looks like they added a defensive tackle for $20 million out of Buffalo too.
Yeah, it makes me sad to say it, but I think you're right. I mean, Minnesota has the most complete team at this point in the division.
Dalvin Cook still got his legs, it seems too. So
and you have a quarterback who, although inconsistent, has been with that team for a while. Been with those receivers for a while. Justin Jefferson has developed into one of the best. He's the best young talent at wide receiver in the league. Yeah. I mean, who's a better? I mean, you got Jamar Chase.
Maybe
Jamar Chase hasn't done it
Jamar Chase.
You know.
Yeah.
CD maybe giving him a run.
Yeah,
he's not quite there yet, but he could be this year.
But I mean, just look at, and I know this personally because he was on my team last year. But just look at the games that Jefferson would put together at the end of last year, and even the year before that. You know, I mean, he carried Brant to a championship. You know, the year before. So
he's got the elite status. He's the 1% of the 1%.
He can do everything.
What he can do.
He can run a deep post. He can run a route underneath. He's got great route running. He's got great speed. He's got great contested catch ability. He literally can do it all. Yeah. And I put CeeDee Lamb a little bit behind him on that. Not much, because CeeDee Lamb can do it all too. Mm-hmm. You know, CeeDee Lamb won games for Dallas last year too, but he's just a little bit less than Jefferson at this point, if you ask me.
Well, and it seems they both have middling quarterbacks.
And I think without Amari Cooper, that looks a little more slanted towards CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so anyhow, talk about Detroit. Detroit's still got a ton of young talent. You know, you still got the Goff man at quarterback. I feel like they could address but again, it's just not a year for quarterback in the draft. I don't believe in any of these guys. I said it already. I think Malik Willis might have the most athletic talent. Ritter has a lot of talent too, but
yeah, no. Anyone coming out of this year's draft quarterback to have immediate NFL success will be one of the biggest stories.
Yeah.
Of the league next year because no one's expecting it.
No, it's defense. It's a defensive draft this year, and there's a couple of big-bodied wide receivers, and a couple of burners.
Yeah.
The kid out of Ohio State, Olave, is a good wide receiver, but he's not a Justin Jefferson. He's not a CeeDee Lamb. He's not a DK Metcalf. The biggest bodied, most physical wide receiver is the kid out of USC, Drake London. 6'4", 225 pounds, big guy. Was injured though, and is still yet to do his huge, big Mike Evans type player.
Jesus.
Mike Evans type player for sure. Especially with his ability to catch touchdowns in the red zone. But he was injured, so he didn't do the combine, and so his pro day is coming up. Apparently, the only reason I know is because the Packers are looking at him. It's coming up in like a week or something, which is like a week before the draft, so it's a huge deal.
Interesting.
If he has a big pro day, you'll start hearing about him a lot in about a week. There's some other talent at wide receiver as well, but I mean the big names in the draft, right? The three big edge rushers: Thibodeau out of Oregon. Javon Walker out of Georgia. The biggest one everybody says is Hutchinson, could go number 1 overall out of Michigan. Derek Stingley Jr., a lot of talk around him as the best cornerback out of LSU. There's a kid out of Cincinnati that they call Sauce, I believe. That's a good quarterback too, Sauce Williams.
Man, what a name!
Yeah, I mean, great name.
That dude on my squad.
Yeah,
Sauce Williams.
Yeah, come on,
some
man.
extra sauce.
Yeah, his middle name is his nickname is Sauce. But
good enough for
everybody
me.
calls him Sauce Williams.
Legal name now.
That linebacker out of Georgia, also great talent. It was huge in the national championship for them. I'm just trying to think of other big names that I know of in the draft. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton, but those are the ones that I know of. There's a few offensive tackles I've heard talked about, but that's just a little mid-pod.
Well, how do
draft flow down there?
How do we feel about the NFC North in like 1 through 4?
I think you put the Vikings at 1 right now. Packers got to be 2 still because you have the
I
MVP.
think there's
You
a
do.
consensus here. Detroit's the last. Bears
Yeah.
are 3.
Yeah, I think we all sit there.
I think Detroit, Chicago are a lot closer than you would think, though.
I think they are close.
I won't argue that.
I have to
I think
see
that's
Detroit do
exactly
better
right.
because Detroit is that franchise.
Of course. But you have a coach that the team believes in.
Yep.
You have some young talent at running back.
I've heard.
I have heard this argument about Detroit
Of
like
course.
6 times in the last 12 years.
Oh, yeah, because, you have to make that argument.
It's white
That's
noise
what
at this
happens.
point.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
only up from here, and then they just plateau right exactly where they've always been.
There's honestly not a lot to talk about there. I mean, to talk about the Packers a little bit more just because it's my home team, obviously. Obviously, massive hole at wide receiver when you let
Massive.
Devontae go.
Massive.
I mean, massive. It's a massive hole out there in the Midwest. Literally on their roster right now, they have Al Nazard, he's an okay number 2. He's proven himself at this point. He's done it for a couple of years. He can be a number 2 in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You have Randall Cobb, older than the hills. And then
He
you
won't
literally
be
have you have their rookie last year, Amari Rodgers. That's it. That's all
Yeah.
they got on the roster. You can't, Rodgers going to phone it in 4 games into the season if you start the year with that. So they have to do something.
I can't
He
believe.
might do that.
I can't.
No, he
believe,
absolutely will.
I can't believe he stayed in Green Bay, just signed that money, and said, "Yeah, Devontae Adams can go." Like, what's going on?
He loves
Yeah, I
having
don't
a
get
fan.
that.
He loves having a fan base that's just all on his dick, and all Wisconsin loves that man.
Jesus.
And we know the franchise lost without him,
Yeah.
so he'll get whatever. Like he's royalty in that state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
so,
crazy.
He just kind of seems like a turd.
He is a turd. The only thing I stand by him for is when he kind of just the COVID stuff last year, and then he was just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of was cool with that a little bit, but for the most part, yeah, huge asshole. One of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game.
He is.
Yeah,
He is.
phenomenal. I'd
So-
love to see him in Dallas.
Yeah.
He was kind of a turd.
Yeah,
It's
never
kinda
going
turd.
to Dallas. So
I know, but that's how much I like him.
the 2 biggest threats in the offseason were Pittsburgh and Denver, and obviously Denver
Yeah.
filled that gap, and
So glad he did not go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I hope
He would've been real good
I hope
in
no one
Pittsburgh.
goes to Pittsburgh because I just don't want to see him succeed.
Yeah, let him just have Mason Rudolph forever.
they always fucking figure it out. Though, don't they? It's sad, but
They are a
do.
well-run organization.
And they got a great coach,
Yeah,
and he brings the level of players up.
Yeah.
He just does.
Yeah.
And they got that reputation in that city. Like some organizations have a reputation, like the Patriots, like the Steelers, like they have that lineage that also it just
the
feels
Patriots
like,
have had it because of one quarterback. Though.
yeah, but it was for a long time.
It's
developed the
true.
culture,
It's
and
true.
the coach too matters.
But-
Belichick matters.
But it was literally their career. They
True.
haven't seen another. They've been around since 1960, and that was the only success they've had.
I think Mac Jones is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. I think he is going to be. He's got a lot of poise, man.
Okay.
That dude plays
Okay.
with
Maybe you're right.
He could easily. I mean, not easy. I'm not even going to say that. That'd be.
All right, let's move on to the AFC
Yeah,
West.
let's keep it moving. The NFC North's not going to lie. AFC West.
Exciting.
The most exciting one. This
Yeah,
is the best division.
Exciting.
It's going to get meaty.
The most
This one
fun
does.
division to watch next year.
I agree because I don't know who number 4 is. This is the first division I've looked at that I'm like, they're 4. I don't know.
It could be KC.
It could be.
They've lost Tyreek Hill.
Oh
Tyron
man.
Matthews gone.
Oh
Probably.
jeez. Yeah.
And who did they bring in at wide receiver? They brought in Juju, who could, with a better quarterback and a better coach, resurrect his. But like the argument for Juju in KC was with Tyreek taking the double, was it not? And remember in the glory years of Antonio Brown pulling the defense down the field, and then Juju just racking up catches because it was hard to cover one-on-one. Well, now you don't have any Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's the story going to be there? I don't know. Justin Reed is a solid safety. I don't know what else they got going on.
Do you
here.
think
Not much.
McCole Hardman being the second fastest man in the league, they're gonna be able to recreate that Tyreek Hill? I mean, not that you recreate the Tyreek Hill,
No,
but
it's
you know,
not
that nobody's ever seen it before.
but I mean, does
They let him go.
They made some improvements on the O-line. I'm looking here. Derek Nyadi's not a bad D tackle. They picked up some pieces. Austin Ritter's an all right center.
I'm okay with Tyreek being gone because, this last season was just evidence that that little bit of edge, that little bit of a step that made him untouchable was gone. So now it's time to come up with a different kind of strategy. It's played out. We got us a championship.
And he's going to demand a shit ton of money.
100%. Let's pivot a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you have his off-the-field issues, too.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Let's see how he does in Miami.
They got some talent at running back still. Between the rookie, if they can figure out how to use him better, which they might now. I mean, obviously you have the best tight end in the league still.
And a ton of draft capital. Yeah,
they do. So like they'll probably reload a little bit. I think they're obviously going to be competitive. If they lose Matthew, though, I mean, their secondaries, and they lost Charvarius Ward. They lose Matthew. I mean,
they need a pass rusher.
They have Jerry Sneed, who's a good cornerback, very physical cornerback. But yeah, they need a pass rusher because you have what's his face, Clark is older than the hills. He can't really, when they made the Super Bowl run, he was a beast. But I mean, that's 3 years ago at this point when they won.
Yep.
So I mean, you have Chris Jones, obviously is the anchor of that defense still. But yeah, you need more than that. They don't have anybody. The biggest name if they lose Matthew is Chris Jones. And in today's league, if you're going to win a Super Bowl, you got to have 2-3 guys on defense. And then a lot of good role players. So I don't know.
You have to have a player in each fucking tier, each level.
Like we were saying about the Rams.
Otherwise, you have a spot that can be exploited. And teams are so good now and coaches are that you will.
The best teams are. Yeah. They're going to find a hole and they'll exploit that. Denver Broncos, man, are going to be fun this year. Also with those wide receivers, I think is going to be fun because they have a big body wide receiver. They have a route runner.
What do they got? They got Judy. They got who else? They got
Portland. And then they got Tim Patrick, who's as good a wide receiver 3 as there is in the league.
I mean, if Denver is as good as Denver fans want you to believe at drafting wide receivers, you're going to know now. Because they haven't had anyone to throw to him, and now you got Russell Wilson, who is still just so good.
I think Jerry Jeudy and Russell Wilson are going to have a lot of fun.
Think so?
I think Jerry Jeudy is one of the most underrated young players if he can stay healthy. Because I've listened to people.
I was going to say, as far as fantasy talk goes for our league purposes, I think the Russell Wilson move is the thing that's going to have the most impact on our fantasy league as far as swaying things.
Yeah. Especially in the draft capital of the offensive pieces in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Denver's going to be – there's going to be a lot of hype around them.
Mm-hmm.
And it could either implode somebody's season if they overdraft Denver, or it could be, they get them a little cheap if some of them slide because some of our league mates don't believe in it. It'll be an interesting dynamic to see how that goes down. They got Randy Gregory, as you guys were saying. On defense,
man.
I mean,
$70 million for Mr. Gregory.
So much money. How'd it go too?
Alex Singleton is a decent role-playing linebacker. He's nothing to write home about. They don't really have. I mean, obviously the biggest one's Russell Wilson, right? And then Randy Gregory.
Yep.
That's pretty much all you really need to know about Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see what they do in the draft. KC, we already kind of talked about.
Raiders are the other ones that also brought in huge players, making big moves. They want
players, big names. Chandler Jones, 3-year, $51 million, and obviously the biggest one, Devontae.
Their offseason this year reminds me of the Rams' offseason last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're one of the teams making the biggest stank.
They are. New head coach, Josh McDaniels going to be there. I mean, it's
second chance,
new
third
stadium
chance,
still.
Second.
Yeah,
Denver.
Denver and now Vegas.
Yeah.
Getting another shot at the AFC West.
So we'll see what he does. I mean, obviously, AFC West most competitive division in the league this year,
Absolutely.
Right? AFC, both the West leagues, AFC and NFC.
Well, I mean, the Chargers, Khalil Mack coming in.
Yeah.
So the other side of Joey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Always with the Chargers. If the defense stays healthy, across the board, one of the most talented defenses.
One of the more consistent years out of Mike Williams last year too.
Yeah, I mean, they got who's the kid out of they got from Denver, the cornerback, not Casey Hayward. He obviously we already talked about him moving somewhere else. What's his name? Chris
Harris.
Harris. Chris Harris Jr. He's still there, I think. With the Chargers, I believe.
I think you're right.
If Derwin's healthy, Derwin's one of the best, most athletic safeties in the league still.
Mm-hmm.
You got those two guys up front. So there you go. we're kind of talking about a defense that's got those pieces at each level and they can compete. It just seems like every year, I've said this for 3 years in a row now. If they can stay healthy, they're one of the best defenses. Well,
Yeah.
it never happens.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And Khalil Mack is older than shit. So
Yeah, but he's built different.
yeah,
He's built like Mike Tyson. Okay?
he's built like James Harrison. That's who he
Good
built like.
God.
Yeah,
he's just scary. He's still scary. It's one of
Yeah.
those guys, like how I felt about Von Miller's career and like how it could have just faded into nothingness, like sitting in Denver. They moved him on to a championship caliber team, and like I'm like, okay, it's a name again. I feel that way about Khalil Mack.
Yeah, because he was Aaron Donald level talent.
Yeah,
He was like set aside from everybody else as like the guy.
remember
Absolutely.
the first year in Chicago? Terrifying.
yeah.
They were. That was
The
the
things
year
he
that
would
Chicago
do
was the
one
best
on
defense.
while he had an offensive lineman buried in his chest.
Yeah, he's very, very good.
There was the
Tackle the
game.
quarterback with 3 fingers.
The game where he injured Rodgers, and then Rodgers came back in the second half and beat. That was that game. He came back. We thought. I remember Eric was with me at that game. I remember in the second quarter, Rodgers goes down. I'm like, our season's over because the year before Rodgers went down.
Yeah.
That was the year where we had
Yep.
the fucking. I don't even remember the kid who came in because that's how terrible he was.
It was really bad.
It was really bad. Oh, it's horrendous.
Oh my
But
god.
anyway, so Rodgers goes down. The whole bar is silent. We're all about to start crying. Like it's week 1. Our season's over.
I remember that.
Comes back in the second half. 3 touchdowns. Torches them. But in the first half of that game, that was the first game Khalil Mack in Chicago. Literally, they would snap the ball and he would be in the backfield.
Yeah.
Like the tackle stands up and he's already around it. It was ridiculous. It looked like he was offsides every play, but he was just that fast.
And then they would show the slow motion replay, and he would move the exact second the ball was snapped
Yeah.
every time.
It's like what's his face last year had a couple plays like that. Cleveland, big Cleveland guy.
Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You remember the ones the popular one they showed where he does the sidestep move and it looked like he literally was in like a time warp, but then he actually was doing that. Like it was.
That man wanted to go to Dallas so bad.
Man, I don't need to hear that.
Do you remember?
He would've
Don't you
been
remember
great.
that?
Yeah.
He released that video and he was like, "Hey Jerry, please come get me." And they had to like apologize to Cleveland
Mm-hmm.
because they were going to draft him. He's like, "Oh, I wanted to be here too."
Oh, damn.
Sure you did, Miles.
God damn it.
But anyway, Las Vegas making a lot of big moves. Sexy stadium out there, some sexy names there. It'll be fun watching.
I'm gonna go watch the game in that stadium this next year.
It looks really cool.
I didn't do it last year. and
Dave
that
got
was a
lucky
mistake.
enough to do it.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
got to see John Gruden's last game.
Was that his last game?
Yep.
Went to?
Yeah.
Who's their coach? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
Josh McDaniels.
Oh yeah, we just said it.
Yep.
Fuck. All right.
Which is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I think they're clearly elevated in the division. If I had to rank them, I would go.
How do you rank them? Time for number 1.
I would put Raiders 1.
Whoa! I love that. I love that.
That's a hot take. But
That's
I don't
a hot
think so.
take.
I'm calling it.
I
I'm
love
calling
that.
Raiders 1.
You know why I say no?
I'm getting behind that. You
know why I say no? 2 words.
Nothing. No, I can charge.
Derek Carr.
That's fine, but I think Devontae Adams and Josh McDaniels
I
make him
disagree
look
with you.
a lot better.
Derek Carr's the worst quarterback in that division.
I
Easily.
think it's the worst quarterback in the division, and I think it's the best quarterback division.
Yeah, but what's the most important position in football?
Yeah, you're right.
It's quarterback.
Look,
He's the worst one.
I think you're disrespecting Derek Carr's name a little bit.
A little bit, sure, but like, there's reason for that.
Yeah, we'll see how I can do with Josh McDaniels. I'm in on it.
We'll
All
see.
right, so
We'll
I'm saying
see.
Raiders 1.
I'm gonna pick Chargers 1 just because I want to be different.
All right.
I'm
you guys
saying.
do your 4. Let him go first.
Oh man, this is tough. I'm saying Broncos are 4,
Okay.
and I'm saying Chargers are 2. I think Chiefs slide to 3.
Okay, all right.
It's not bad. But what you got, Cody?
I'm gonna go Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos. I also got Broncos 4.
I would go Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos.
We all have them 4. Interesting. Denver's the worst team, even with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, because I don't see it on defense for them.
Okay.
And also like they don't have if we're talking about on paper and we're talking about all of these names
Mhm.
play up to their highest potential, Denver has the least amount of potential of any of them. in my opinion. That's why I put them 4.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So, anything else? Well, we didn't really talk about the Chargers much, but I mean, we kind of covered Khalil Mack. You know, they got Gerald Everett in there.
So it turns out Seahawks cannot have Gerald Everett on their banner out front because he's not there.
Because he is gone. So Will Disley, here we go. Let's go.
Shit, you're right.
That big old Montana blockhead up there. Anyway, all right. We want to talk about AFCs?
Let's do it.
Still the Bills division?
Oh,
What do we
yeah.
got?
I think so, as long as Josh Allen looks like he looks.
But I think the Dolphins are 2.
How about 6
I don't know.
years?
It's 2 because of the quarterback.
Yeah.
The drop off at quarterback there is so much more egregious than the last week we talked about.
I think you're right.
Can we talk about 6 years and $120 million?
That doesn't make any sense.
For
That
old man
means they
Von
got
Miller.
everybody they need, and they said, "Fuck it, what is it gonna take to get you here as the final piece?" That's what that says. To me.
Yeah, that says.
Or they like the other side of that coin is just huge fucking mistake.
I think huge fucking mistake because I think you're gonna be feeling the effects of that contract for
Josh Allen's prime.
But how much of
exactly.
how much of it is
You're
guaranteed?
not going to be able to put the pieces around him because
How much of it is incentive based? Is it all guaranteed?
probably not. But I mean, okay, so let's say
It's starting to get that way.
2 to 3 years.
Looking at it.
2 to 3 years. You know, you're going to be paying that price when you could be going and picking up offensive line. You could be picking up core pieces.
Yeah.
On the
I
defensive
mean,
and
maybe
offensive line.
Maybe it's under the idea of restructuring it all on the back end so that like while the window is open right now, you can get him. He's like, look, we're gonna pay $120 million, but like it's gonna be in 2025.
Yeah, and
You know what I
maybe
mean?
they trade him.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Maybe you get
But
2
no
years
one's trading him. No one's trading him with that,
for that
with that tag.
contract. Yeah, exactly.
The whole reason Kirk Cousins is still in Minnesota is because they gave him too much goddamn money, they guaranteed it all,
Yeah.
and now they can't give him to someone for that price.
Long-term contracts for players over 30 to me almost never make sense unless we're talking Hall of Fame level quarterbacks
And
and maybe wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Elite wide receivers.
Absolutely.
You know? It doesn't ever make a whole lot of sense. To
Yeah,
me.
I'm super surprised
But-
by that length and size of that contract because I feel like they could have went and got someone comparable to a Von Miller right now for 3 years at probably $40 million and been doing just fine.
It is the piece they're missing though.
Yeah.
Did they lose any of their secondary? Did they keep all those guys? They kept Hyde. They kept.
They lost
Tre'Davious.
a defensive tackle, I remember, but I don't know if they lost anybody.
Was that SJD, Sebastian Joseph Day,
Yeah, they lost
that went
him.
to LA?
Yep.
I think that
Okay.
sounds right.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he was a defensive tackle for them.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 signings that you got on here, though, Jake, that I do like, that I think are smart, are both Crowder and Howard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Howard
absolutely.
has a lot of on-tap potential.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, you had what's-his-face in Buffalo at tight end that came out great for them.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Dawson. was it-
Dawson Knox.
Yeah. So
OJ Howard's going to be on the other side blocking.
Yeah,
they're gonna be fine.
but O.J. Howard's just capable of taking a 50-yarder to the house, too, if he's healthy. I mean,
It's
a
true.
lot of athletic talent there that never has really shown through.
Mhm.
He had a lot of promise coming in. And Jamison Crowder, I mean, they lost Cole Beasley, did they not? Did Cole Beasley go somewhere?
I don't think so. I have not seen his name yet.
Well, Jamison Crowder can fulfill the role that Beasley has done just as well.
Yeah, because I think they still got Diggs and Beasley.
Okay, and then they have they got Gabe Davis and Emmanuel Sanders probably done.
Probably.
Retired, or-
I think you see Jameson Crowder coming in. I think after you see Emmanuel Sanders going.
Yeah, but I mean, you still got Steph Diggs. You got Gabe Davis, great big body wide receiver. They had that McKenzie guy at point. Remember Isaiah McKenzie?
Yeah.
Had some games at the end of the year too. So they got some talent at wide receiver, tight end.
Cole Beasley is a free agent.
Oh.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so that's why James Crowder's there.
Okay.
He's gonna play the Cole Beasley role probably. It's probably going to be their 3 wide receiver sets. It's probably going to be if Emmanuel Sanders can't hack it anymore or he's gone or gets injured, it's going to be Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, and James Crowder, most likely. Still not a lot to write home for at running back there, which is still a hole for them. I mean, but they got enough at running back where they can do it a little bit, and they got a good defense, so they're probably going to be number 1 in this division. Miami, though, loaded
Miami
up
big
a lot
money.
of offensive talent.
Miami big
might
money.
be, yeah. I mean, they're going to have a cannon on offense. if Tua can just even be kind of moderate, I think.
And I'm pretty sure they re-signed their big name cornerback too.
Byron Jones.
Not Byron Jones, the other one. Howard. Xavier Howard.
I didn't know they had two big cornerbacks.
Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. Yeah. Byron Jones though, he's getting a little old too at this point. I mean, he's still great.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure he's over 30. I think so.
I don't think
he is over 30.
I'll say 27.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Oh, the other,
Signed somebody at cornerback from the Giants to a 3-year, $10 million deal. Keon Crossan. I do not know who that is.
Byron Jones is currently 29.
Are loaded at wide receiver. They have Cedric Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Preston Williams is athletic. Trent Sherfield's a fine role player. He's a fine wide receiver 5. And then you have obviously Waddle in there. I mean, you have did they keep their tight end, the Gesicki?
They did. They franchise tagged him.
So I mean, on offense,
they re-signed his backup to a 2-year deal.
They're going to be one of the teams that has the most speed on offense in the league. I mean, Waddle,
that's exciting.
Yeah,
and they added Connor Williams. I think I'm more sad about losing Connor Williams than I am about losing Lil Collins.
The other thing that. Yeah, their offense, man. If their offense comes together,
I feel so the opposite.
But look at this here. They got Chase. They got Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert. They went all speed. Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Alec Ingold is a good fullback. Ced Wilson, Tyreek Hill. Skip those two; they don't matter. Mike Gesicki, they're fine, but they're role players. Teron Armstead, huge signing at tackle. Connor Williams at guard. They really improved their offensive line with those two. Defense, it's a lot of role players. I don't know what else is down here. A little bit. But that's pretty much it. But, I mean, look at the investment on the offensive side of the ball. 2 big-name offensive line signings.
So many new bodies. They're going to be a completely different team next year.
Yeah, it's all going to depend. Does it come together or does it implode? You got a lot of personalities there. Not a lot of personalities. The big one that you have to manage is Tyreek, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't
they're going to manage it with about $120 million.
Well, yeah, but Tyreek also is used to winning.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
sometimes if you don't win, they don't care.
That's true.
You know, look at OBJ. They were paying OBJ in Cleveland. They weren't winning.
Cleveland looking a little more like a problem there, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? These guys at the end of the day still want to be the team they want to be on the teams that are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They want to be, they want to at those primetime spots. If you're a shitty team, you're not going to get them. You know? So
do you think Miami, if you're a betting man, which I know you are, you got the Dolphins
Absolutely.
or the Jets in the 2 spot next year?
I put the Patriots in the 2 spots still because that Miami has to prove it. The Patriots proved that they can compete last year.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I think that's how it looks.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Buffalo.
Well, they're going to have to do it with the exact same team because they didn't
England.
do shit in the offseason this year.
They're going to draft, and Belichick's terrible at the draft, though. So, I mean, we'll see. But, their defense is going to be okay still.
I didn't put it on the list. They got Devin McCourty, but they also brought in, where'd he go?
This is a big one for them, actually. Trent Brown is a big signing at offensive tackle. He's getting a little old, but he's a good tackle.
Well, they brought in Malcolm Butler from Arizona.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler's old too, though.
Yeah.
Devin McCourty is nice getting him back. They're
again old,
but New
they're
England
all getting old.
But Belichick does great things with old grizzled veterans on fucking defense.
That's what he believes in.
That's kind of his thing.
Yeah, and they were good last year.
Good
they were
arguably the best defense in the league for at least half the league.
Sure.
Remember when they embarrassed Atlanta? Do you remember that game? Where
Atlanta took some licks.
They put like 3 defensive touchdowns on Atlanta.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
They sent in the backup first pass, pick 6.
They scored I think they got me like 40 points in fantasy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, they went nuts. I remember. Because I remember maybe Erica was playing you or something. She lost it because the defense went nuts. I don't remember, but yeah, I think the Patriots are still number 2.
Okay.
Mac Jones, good. And the other big thing that the Patriots did get actually is Devontae Parker. I think Devontae Parker is a good athlete, and he's better than any wide receiver that they had there. They had nobody.
That wide receiver room is pretty lacking, and that's why Devontae Parker looks like such a good pickup.
Their problem is on offense.
Yeah.
But they have Damian Harris. Damian Harris had a great year last year. For Damian Harris, like he was solid.
It was.
When he was healthy.
It was the first time in a number of years I can't remember. Because I got rid of him thinking they were going to do that running back by committee. Like he does well 1 week, then the Rex Burkhead type does well for 1 week, and they kept with him for a good while.
They also had that bowling ball guy. Remember him? What's his face? Number 39, rookie.
Not Brandon.
No, not Bolden. It wasn't Bolden, and it wasn't Damian Harris. You know what I'm talking about. Ramondre Stevenson.
There you go.
He could take the starting job this year.
Good.
It's possible.
I just think New England's ceiling is lower than Miami's. Their floor is definitely higher, but that's kind of where it sits right now.
That's accurate.
Yeah,
I would say that's accurate. The other team that has made some moves, though, the Jets have made some moves. It's still the Jets, but
it is.
One
of those franchises: the Cleveland, the Detroits, the Jags, and the Jets.
The Jets have a good coach, though. They do have a good coach. I don't know about offensive minded, but he could bring back those Rex Ryan teams of old, run the ball, and play great defense because he's completely capable of putting together an elite defense. Look at what he did in San Francisco.
Well,
and they did get some names. Look who they got.
The Jets signed 2 tight ends to 3-year, $20+ million contracts.
Stupid.
That seems
and they're
weird.
both kind of. CJ Uzomah was great last year, but a lot of that has to do with Joe Burrow and the coaching there.
Yeah,
and
I think $45 million at the tight end position is tough.
Stupid. Locken Tomlinson is a good guard. That's going to help their offensive line, which was a huge problem for Wilson last year. DJ Reed's an all right cornerback coming over from Seattle. Jordan Whitehead is a name. LaMarcus Joyner is a name. They don't have any really big signings other than tight end. And also, why are we signing Tevin Coleman? Why?
Same reason we're signing Joe Flacco.
In
case of an emergency.
Tell me Joe Flacco's better than Mike White at this point in his career. He's not.
Yeah.
Mike White played admirably when he came in.
Number 4.
Yeah,
number 4.
To me, it's Buffalo 1, New England 2, but easily could slide to 3 with the talent on Miami, and then you got the Jets a clear last. So, in that division. Do you guys want to talk about the next one?
I think that's how I feel about it.
Right on. So last 2 divisions here that we can kind of talk about if you guys want to do something for the draft or not.
Okay.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes in the power rankings based on what happens in that too. But AFC South, the Texans, terrible again. That might be probably worst team in that division.
Yes.
Because they don't have the young talent in Jacksonville. Still paying for the horrendous moves of head coach and GM, which I think is always a bad idea. Having them beat both, because you need like a check and balance there. Because look at what he did to that team with the terrible moves that he made. Bill O'Brien at the end.
Terrible moves. Bill O'Brien really.
Fuck that.
Really going to go into the record books in a city as a villain.
Wrecked that franchise.
Yeah.
Probably for the next couple of years. Still.
Yeah. That's tough.
Who did they get? Let's look at it. They got Kyle Allen. Not really much there. Who else do they have at QB down there? He might be the starter.
No, Davis Mills is the guy.
Davis Mills.
He's the guy.
The rookie.
In fact, they're saying he's gonna be the guy.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Announced it, huh?
Yeah, like they're thinking his next year's progress is gonna be Josh Allen-esque. He's gonna make strides in his second year.
Oh God, I do not think so.
Hey, I'm just repeating what other people are talking about.
They did pick up a little bit of help at running back instead of having the old man room that they had last year. They got Royce Freeman, who's still younger. It was okay. He was an okay talent coming in. 1-year deal there. Dario Ogunbowale, nothing really to write home about there. Chris Conley was an okay wide receiver over the middle a few years ago.
I think we're looking at the number 4 team in that division.
Christian Kirksey, honestly, is the best signing that I see there.
It just looks like a lot of grasping at straws, like really just kind of spreading some money out and hoping something pans out.
Well, it's exactly what we said. They got Desmond. It's really the ones that you have here: Desmond King Malik Collins and Christian Kirksey on defense are the biggest
And that's
moves
about
that they
it.
made,
Yeah.
which is nothing.
It's nothing.
It's all those are all role players. Those
Yep.
are all decent role players.
Yep.
And Desmond King is old.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about Indianapolis?
I think it's important just because of the Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan switch 'em ups. JT being possibly the greatest fantasy player.
Michael Pittman coming
Yeah.
into his own.
So I mean, I think they might be this.
Tennessee is going to compete.
I think it's them in Tennessee.
Tennessee's going
Yeah.
to compete, and they added Robert Woods, which is good for them because Julio ain't going to do it anymore.
No.
Is Julio still with them? Or did
I
they let
don't
him
think
go?
so. I think they let
go.
him go. They brought in Woods and Austin Hooper.
Woods, Hooper, and A.J. Brown, though, that's a competitive receiving core. And then you got the big man Henry in the backfield. If you can protect the Aryan tall man himself slinging the ball around, then you'll be all right.
Aryan tall man.
I mean, the big blonde giant they got back there fucking standing.
Yeah, Aryan tall man.
The old Tannehill. Aryan tall man, Ryan Tannehill, that goes together.
Yeah. It
When
was
did Patrick bust out the thesaurus?
smooth as silk.
Don't worry about it there. And somebody's gotta keep the zingers going here. I think Matt Ryan though in Indianapolis is gonna find success.
I
That
think so
running
too. I
game's
think they
gonna
have a
take
good
pressure.
roster, and I think that they were a confident quarterback away from being a scary playoff team last year.
And he's still sitting behind. They might not be the number one offensive line. They're number one rushing offensive line, I think. Pass blocking offensive line, I don't know if they're the number one, but they're still very competent. So you put Matt Ryan behind a good offensive line behind a good offensive line with Michael Pittman, with JT, with some of the tight ends they got there. I think they're going to have a good,
I like Matt Ryan there, but I like Carson Wentz there.
Mhm.
I'm biased aside.
Yeah, I think
he's just better. He's a better
Well,
quarterback.
they're bringing in a guy that's because Carson Wentz, like you said, was full under pressure. Matt Ryan at least can be the guy that just manages the clock, and I think that's why they're bringing him in.
He competed last year with one of the worst off the pass catching. He had games where he would throw for 300 yards.
And he's
With
hungry
fucking
too. So
Russell Gage and Blake and I mean, they got Kyle Pitts, but he's a rookie at tight end.
Yeah, I think they can compete for that division.
They could. Yeah, they could surprise.
I think the highest ceiling is Jacksonville, just because it's because of Trevor Lawrence. You know what I mean? Like the way that people have spoken about him. Yeah, it's time to see it.
the guy had an absolute killing. I remember because I drafted him. I paid attention to him in the preseason, especially last year. And the first bomb that he threw, it was 80 yards, and it was there faster than I've ever seen in my life. It reminded me like Dante Culpepper, but on crack.
He could have a pretty big resurrection this year.
But
he had one of the worst coaches
Mhm.
that's ever had a one and done.
Mhm.
You saw decision-making errors too, though. So it's maybe
Some
I
of that
remember
comes
seeing
from
Justin
coaching.
Herbert.
some of it
Set them
does,
up.
but not all of it does.
That's true.
You can have all the talent in the world and turn out to be a bust in the NFL. I think the highest ceiling is too early of a call for me for the Jaguars. I think the Colts.
The Colts have the highest ceiling in this division.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
with Matt
Jackson-
Ryan there.
Shit, you know what I'm thinking about? I think Tennessee's probably the highest ceiling.
Well,
just because
I
I've seen
put Tennessee ahead of Jacksonville. So
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to shake out. I just kind of like in that last division we talked about how Miami can move up and down a lot based on some things.
Mhm.
I think Jacksonville can move up and down the most in this division. I don't think they're the best.
Can we look at Tennessee on here? Did they keep most of their? I mean, they kept Harold Landry, which is a big piece on their defense. Because we kind of covered Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, we did.
So Tennessee here, some role players there at running back to back up the big man, but we all know
and tight end
whose
with
side
Austin
is there.
Hooper.
In Derrick Henry. And then Robert Woods is a big addition. I mean, he's always an underrated wide receiver. Like we were saying, they're going to have a decent pass catching core if they stay healthy. That's pretty much, they don't have a lot of other big names. It's Harold Landry, it's Robert Woods.
God, look at that
and it's
Harold.
Austin Hooper.
Look at that Landry deal, though. Those are some numbers. 5
Big,
years,
big.
$87.5 million.
One of the best outside linebackers in the league, though. I mean, he's great against the run. He can pass rush. He can cover the flats.
That's so much fun.
They
They would like him to stay in place.
Okay.
Yeah. the Jags. There's a lot to talk about with Jacksonville. They've been doing a lot in the offseason. We were saying, I don't know if it was on air or not. It's 2 hours ago at this point, so forgive me. But Christian Kirk, we all kind of consensus feel like that's a massive overreach.
That's ridiculous. He better really change that team with that kind of money.
He
doesn't have that ability.
No, I mean, he had some blow up games, but like a dominant wide receiver one, I do not see. I mean, is he an upgrade over DJ Chark? And DJ Chark, only having a flash in the pan? Maybe, but maybe not. You know,
I will say this: I do like the wide receiver room of Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Laquan Treadwell. Like just to be able to throw the ball around. But just looking at Kirk as that guy for 74 is.
They also got that big physical rookie,
mm-hmm.
Chenault.
There you go.
And they got a young talent quarterback. The big thing they did on offense here, even more than the wide receivers. Wide receiver is only really remarkable because of the fact that they spent all that money on guys that are honestly they're wide receiver threes.
But they're quick. They're all fast.
They are.
They brought in the offensive guard, Brandon Scherf.
Huge.
So he's going to give Trevor Lawrence time to throw it down the field.
You would hope
and
so.
Trevor Lawrence can get the ball down the field like that.
I think that they drafted a tackle in the draft last year, like a high-touted tackle. So they should have one side of their offensive line. If they're both playing on the same line, that should at least be solid. Maybe he can roll out to that side, not get annihilated.
They're going to get one of those top edge rushers right off the top.
Yeah, because they got the number one pick, right?
Uh-huh.
They're either going to trade that and trade down and get some solid offensive line pieces, which is what I would do if I were them.
Mm-hmm.
Or, they need to invest more in their defense, too, because their defense was atrocious last year as well.
Are you still talking about Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Because look at the deals they made on defense this year. Pulling 3 players for over $30 million apiece from other teams. Darius Williams from the Rams at corner.
Olokun is an athlete, I will say. Fatukasi, I heard his name a decent amount last year.
That's $105 million over 3 years they're dealing out to those 3 players.
And Darius Williams.
So they're doing exactly that.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like then maybe the move for them is, go get the big name edge rusher in the draft, or address the other side of the offensive line.
Well, forget edge rusher. They got one on the D line. They got one in the middle, and they got one on the back end.
That they picked up there.
Yeah.
But they don't have any. But what we're saying is who's the biggest name they got on defense still? Miles Jack. That's the name on defense for them, right? You know what I mean? Who's the real game changer? I don't see any of those guys that they sign as game changers. I think all those guys are above average players.
Yeah.
I don't think they're elite.
Okay.
None of those 3 I see. I think they're all
getting elite money, so they just because they're rich or what?
I think they have a lot of money to throw around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they
Well,
they got a lot of guys on rookie contracts.
Where the big money goes in our leagues right now is going to be quarterback, defensive end, tackle, and receiver. And they got receivers now. They have their quarterback. I don't know what it is. Looks like
they have receivers, but I don't think they're.
No, they're under contract.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They're there now. They're not going to be doing anything else with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they trade back because I think big name defensive end is the other thing of the puzzle that you need.
The other piece that we're forgetting is that they had a highly touted rookie running back last year out of Clemson. What's his name again? That got injured in preseason.
I forget about that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
He could be quite a player for them too. We don't even know. We literally don't even know what he's capable of in the NFL yet either. So if he comes in and can play, and all of a sudden they got Trevor Lawrence, and they got this young talented running back, they improved the offensive line. They could be able to do something on offense, take the pressure off the defense. Maybe they're a 6-win team next year.
Yeah. So is this the most ambiguous of the leagues as far as standings?
It's to me it's clear that you have Tennessee and Indianapolis that are going to compete for the division title just on paper. Mm-hmm. And then I would put Jacksonville obviously ahead of Houston, and Houston's clearly the worst.
Okay.
Yep.
So somewhat clear then.
I think Houston will actually be better than last year, though. I think so.
I hope so.
I think there's just less storylines. They'll be able to just kind of get back to work.
Yeah.
And just kind of grind it out.
I think they're going to be a little bit more competitive than they were last year.
Okay.
And same with Jacksonville. I think the division overall is a little better than it was last year.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
AFC North is going to be a hotly contested division this year as well. And honestly, it's between Pittsburgh and Cleveland at the bottom, if you ask me, because I think you got Cincinnati and Baltimore at the top, which is kind of wild to see Pittsburgh falling so low.
Pittsburgh's going to have to ride the Mitchell Trubisky train.
Yeah, which is going to be a nightmare for them.
Yeah, they're not going to feel good about that.
No. You want to talk about Baltimore first?
Sure.
Baltimore obviously still got a lot of. Sorry. Charlie is burping his people's faces over here.
Charlie.
Yeah. Charlie, the perennial podcast dog here. We got with Baltimore, not a whole lot to talk about, really. There's 4 signings here. They bring back Patrick Card, one of the best fullbacks in the league, but, fullback's kind of
Marcus
relevant.
Williams, it's a big contract.
Marcus Williams from the Saints at safety. That's going to help the secondary there. Michael Pierce, big run stopper in the middle. Him and Clay Campbell. If Michael Pierce and Clay Campbell stay healthy, it's gonna be tough to run in the middle on the Ravens. It usually is, but it's gonna be real tough this year. Their offense pretty much stays the same. It's Lamar Jackson. They have all those injuries at running back. So if any of those guys stay healthy, they'll have a better running game.
Yeah.
Look at who they were rolling out. They were rolling out Levy and Bell and wasn't Todd Gurley there for a little bit?
Yeah.
A week or two.
Yeah, it was the
anybody.
It was the early
Dave drafted him.
It was the 2014 squad out there for Baltimore last year, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Just watching Lamar Jackson run around.
Yeah, and so they got to be better on offense. I think they kept the young burner. They still got Mark Andrews. They got Marquise Brown. If they could put another wide receiver out there with those two, again, they would have a solid, receiving core. Defense is still solid there. But they're not it doesn't feel it feels like the Ravens are rolling out the same team. It doesn't feel like they're really.
Yeah, it feels like they got the team that they're going to get, and they want to compete with it.
They got a couple pieces on defense.
Yeah.
But that's all I've seen really. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the draft. Bengals.
The Bengals are the story. Super Bowl Bengals, baby.
And to be honest, I think the Bengals. I don't know. Baltimore had a lot of unfortunate injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore could be a much improved and much more consistent team this next year.
Teams losing the Super Bowl have historically been bad the next year. Cincinnati looks to have only improved their team.
They improved their offensive line.
That was their biggest struggle by a huge stretch, and they said, all right, cool, that's where the money's going.
And, you have the Iceman at quarterback.
Yeah.
Cannot be rattled.
He was the magic maker. I think you can get better when you're one of those teams, like when Ben Roethlisberger first came into the league and he won his first year. He was just the hot hand. Couldn't touch it. And then you can turn that into a dynasty almost with a team like that. And Cincinnati fits that.
A whole career eating curds and raping chicks in bathrooms.
I really hope Burrow doesn't go down that route.
Dude, it's just glad.
Joe Burrow better not turn off
just
like
an
that.
AFC South thing turns out.
Could you imagine Joe Burrow turning on us with those shades?
Oh, God.
I'd hate that.
Well, he's got that turtleneck vibe on. There's something a little weird.
There's something funny there.
Nah, man, Joe Cool's the man. I love watching that dude play. He's fun to watch play, man. He just has got a lot of moxie about him.
Yeah, he likes to sling it.
And obviously,
and Jamar Chase.
Jamar
If he doesn't
Chase.
get him,
Second year Jamar Chase is gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he is.
And then you got the other young kid out there who just gets overshadowed, but would be a wide receiver 1 anywhere else. What's his face? I'm out of practice right now in the NFL.
Tyler Boyd?
No, not Tyler Boyd. The other one. Higgins. T. Higgins. Big man Higgins. And then you get La'el Collins, like we were saying. Is he the same after the Peds? I don't know. But if he is, it's going to be a big improvement. Alex Kappa is also a good off. The three of them right there: Lale Collins, Alex Kappa, Ted Karras.
Well, hopefully,
Huge improvement.
Burrow doesn't get himself killed because, like, not just does he like to sling it, but that dude
Hold
will
the
put his
ball.
body on the line to
Yeah.
run for a first down on the corner.
Yep.
You get killed doing that.
They kept Jesse Bates on the franchise tag, which was a smart move. He's a great safety, really underrated, and played really well last year. So they were probably gonna lose him in free agency. So that was smart of them. Eli Apple is a terrible quarterback. I feel like he's just a depth piece. The biggest ones.
He's a terrible quarterback.
Yeah, terrible trash.
Remember how he just got attacked in the Super Bowl?
Eli Apple?
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. I would have Kevin King above him. You know my feelings about Kevin King.
I didn't know you
Yes,
guys
we
looked
do.
at that.
It's been recorded.
It's been widely recorded.
They put that on the internet.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
And by they, I mean you guys.
It was us.
No, I mean completely address like an entire side of 60% of the row line right there. Alex Kappa, Lale Collins, and Ted Karras, like they're all solid linemen. So they have to be better on the offensive line, or they just wasted $100 million.
Yeah, I think they're going to be, and I think it's their division to lose.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But Baltimore, like I said, Baltimore is going to be the biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland could surprise.
I'm excited to watch
because of Deshaun
Watson
Yeah.
and Amari Cooper.
Yeah, it was a good segue. That was our best segue in the pod, guys. Well done. Moving into Cleveland.
Until that back tap and love.
Hey,
guys, did you guys notice how good that was?
Hey, it's a small wins, right?
Hey,
small wins right here. We're getting back.
How much?
Pumping ourselves up.
How much?
We got a 3-month break.
Gonna play?
A lot.
He will play 11 games.
11 games. Jake?
He's going to be out 6 games.
I'll take the Price is Right approach and go 12.
So you think it's 5-game suspension?
Yeah.
Just looking at the history of NFL, they
Well,
usually
then I'm
like
gonna-
those even numbers.
I'm gonna go with 13 games and
Yeah.
Price is Right you.
That's exactly right.
I
He gets
think
a 4-game suspension. I feel real good, but I can't. Then I'm hoping for no injuries. And he does move a lot.
I think it's entirely accurate though that he sees a 4-game suspension and he plays most of the year
Yeah, I think you're right.
because
Freak athlete.
when he's on the field, he's top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got Amari now. Did Jarvis stay? Is Jarvis still there?
Jarvis is still there. I just don't know if they believe much in what he's putting on the field nowadays.
Well, Jarvis has had so much mileage on his body because of how many receptions over the middle he's had in the last 5 years.
he's not large.
No, he's not.
No.
He really could do well to spend the offseason studying the old Wes Welker tape. Catch the ball, get down, man.
It's true.
Get down.
Know your outcuts. Know where the sideline is. Get your extra 2 yards.
Yeah, and save the hero plays for the playoffs, man. You got to make it there to be able to play.
That's true.
So, franchise tag on Njoku, I kind of like that. Njoku's had some unfortunate injuries too, but he's a freak athlete. If he can put one together,
That man could be a game changer.
Absolutely, he could be one of the best tight ends. Like he could be like his career
Vernon
trajectory
Davis.
could be Vernon Davis.
Yeah.
That's a good comp.
Yep.
Hey, right up the middle, just run past the linebacker, touchdown, 100%. If I remember right, last year did he not get hurt he got his legs taken out, landed on his head, and he was out like most of the year with a neck injury? Yeah. It was a super athletic catching day too. Like it was way up in the air. He got just undercut.
Great highlight.
Yeah, but
Bad for him.
yeah.
Do you guys know anything about that? Is it Jakeem Grant? Bears wide receiver kick returner signed a 3-year, $14 million deal.
Super speedmeister.
Yeah.
Tiny, super fast.
they're
Had
using
one huge game for the Bears last year where he had 2 touchdowns against the Packers. Yeah.
Do you think they use him at wide receiver? Do you think he's mostly just a special teams
Gadget
piece?
guy.
Yeah.
Great kick returner. Great. He's so fast.
Sure that they're giving him $14 million. They're going to use him at a couple different.
Yeah, he's gonna be involved, but he's not. I mean, it's gonna be Amari and Jarvis and Njoku catching the ball, and from they're gonna have a good offense. They're gonna have a really good offense. Because imagine them putting pro set Kareem Hunt, and I thought that was him. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb on the field same time, so you don't know which way the ball's going if they run it. Right? They can run it either way just as effectively. Okay, they have a pretty decent offensive line still, if I remember. Okay, put those two pro set, put a Joku out, and then throw the 2 stud wide receivers out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough offense to deal with, man. How do you get
sure. Who's the?
There's no weak link.
Is it
Still
still
possibly the quarterback.
Yeah,
Having not played in a while.
Yeah,
exactly
but
what
I
his
mean,
legs look like.
But you
Yeah,
feel like
you're
you feel like you've made an improvement in quarterback though.
Yes.
100%.
So like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a pretty good squad.
Honestly,
You're probably going to get something for
the
Baker,
more I think
too.
about it, I don't know that it is that much of an upgrade for me. I think he brings more to the table as far as
Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield. You don't think it's much of an upgrade?
Running threat. Way.
Yeah, I mean
bigger.
he's more of an athlete, but like enter Jalen Hurts.
Think about the read option ability on that. Like, think about, okay, so this is what they can do with Deshaun Watson over Baker.
It
Okay?
fits his scheme a little better.
You
I
can
guess.
read option just like Lamar does in Baltimore.
Mhm.
Okay? And you could either give it to Nick Chubb and give him a step on some of these linebackers if they you know what I mean? Say you burn him a couple times over the top.
He's got a cannon.
Now they got to hesitate. You give Nick Chubb a chance to get through the hole before the linebackers close him. Like, that's a problem for anybody in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, same with Kareem Hunt. And now you got Amari Cooper, who can get down the field, and you got one of the best across the middle wide receivers that the game's seen.
I haven't really seen Deshaun Watson impress me at the professional level.
I don't know, man.
I think he's one of the most impressive quarterbacks.
There were some years there with not a lot of talent in Houston.
I mean, there was moments here and there, but I guess he just didn't do enough for me. I don't know.
Well, he's going from Houston to Cleveland, so if you want to talk about someone who's getting put behind the 8 ball in franchises, like he's
an upgrade.
That's accurate.
I'm just saying he's in a rough spot.
Yeah.
So like if he does have it, you know, like he's
this
really
recent
gonna
rough spot though. Recent rough spot, self-made. The first one, unfortunate draft spot. This recent one was self-made.
Yeah.
He would have had a much. I mean, he could be in Denver.
And that shitstorm
At this
around
point.
a player like that can really fuck with a player's head too. I mean, take you out of it, and you ain't played in that long. There's just a lot of things that can happen. In that
There's a
game.
lot of things, especially quarterback.
He does not strike me as that smart of a player to be able to have that affect him internally that much. And I don't like just watching what he said and watching his behavior about it. It does not seem to me like he cares that much or feels like that he did anything wrong.
Gotcha.
That's kind of what I see from him, to be honest.
It'll be interesting to because okay, so as far as like again volatile teams in divisions, I think Cleveland because of the Deshaun Watson and Lamar Cooper pickup
Could go either way.
I think they have the biggest up or down trajectory of anyone there, and I think they upgraded. I think they're going to be better. I think Pittsburgh's easily the number 4, and I think it's Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
The other thing that we're not talking about here that just literally got announced today for Cleveland, they made Denzel Ward the highest paid cornerback in the league.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah, as of today. So they got Denzel Ward. They got Greedy Williams. Greedy Williams is underachieved. They got Myles Garrett. They got a decent defensive
They don't have a bad roster.
No, they don't.
They don't have a bad roster.
Cleveland.
It's just Cleveland.
Yeah, it's just Cleveland. But like the thing is, Cleveland could surprise and win this division. It would be crazy. It would be wild for them to overcome Cincinnati and Baltimore. But this is going to be a really competitive division, I think.
I think it will be out of 3 teams.
I can see them overtaking Baltimore.
And Pittsburgh, as bad as their Pittsburgh, as bad as their quarterback situation looks like, I think they're going to take a quarterback in the draft. How do you not?
Yeah, but
You know what I mean?
quarterback that we don't even know his name yet is going to change the divisional leader in this AFC North.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't either.
No, but I think it could make them more competitive.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
That's true.
I
I think Mitch Trubisky is going to have a job this year. I don't see a quarterback who's going to be better than Mitch Trubisky in the draft.
think I could
I'd
see
agree with that.
I could see Malik Willis coming in.
You think so?
I think so. But the thing is that Tomlin likes a guy who's gonna go out there and run the game plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that could be the one reason why maybe they don't bring in a rookie and have him be effective. Because he is a coach that wants the quarterback to know what it like. You know, as bad as Mason Rudolph was, Mason Rudolph, I bet, executed the game plan that Tomlin wanted him to.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so I that could be a reason why. And you know,
Does that
Mitch
include the
Trubisky-
N-word?
say what?
So does that include the N-word?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what?
Look, if Myles Garrett's on you too much, you let him know what to pick up.
Hey, he got
He's
Myles
still part of
Garrett.
the game plan, Miles.
He got Myles out of the game one way or another.
Oh,
dude.
It took a helmet to the head.
It only took a little racial slur to make it happen.
Just a little racial slur, a little bit
Careful.
of future
Be very careful what you say after the John Gruden clip we have here.
You
don't need to string along events here.
It's true.
Hey, I got nothing to say.
It's on the internet.
Smart man.
So overall, I think we're both agreeing in both conferences. It's the two West divisions that are the most competitive, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't think we need to go farther than that in terms of who the best division is in either side. I mean, Super Bowl favorites, way too early Super Bowl favorites. Just one team, real quick, rapid fire. What do you guys think?
Tough to pick against LA, man. They win it. They load it up again. Sean McVay.
It's a good call. What do you think, Jake?
Man, that's the first one that comes to mind. If I had to pick one that was different, though, I might throw. You go first, man. That's tough.
I don't think the NFC North's going to do it as much as I'd like them to. In the NFC, I'll throw two out there. I think in the NFC,
I think Buffalo, by the way.
Yeah, in the NFC, it's the Rams and the Bucks. You know, in the AFC, if you want me to get a little bit more wild, Baltimore, Tennessee, maybe. You know, because I think the favorites.
No Buffalo, huh?
If you're talking about favorites in the NFC, it's Cincinnati, and Buffalo. Of course. But I'm trying to get a little bit more.
I get that.
Path,
you know what? I'm gonna double down.
Oh,
Raiders.
There you go.
I love that.
That's a hot take.
That's a spicy meatball.
They could do it, man. It'd be fun. It'd be fun watching that.
That's my fun but probably stupid pick.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Going Vegas. Don't let Steve hear this.
There you go.
Steve does not listen to this.
Steve absolutely does not listen to this.
Could you imagine?
Oh, no.
So we're going to put this up, folks. It's a long one, obviously. Hope you listen to it. Hope you enjoy it.
It's only 2 hours and 15. I thought we were going to hit 3 hours.
It's not bad. Not bad at all.
We did it.
We did it, and it was fun. We're looking forward to another great year. The draft's coming up here in 10 days. 10 days till day one of the draft. And then we might do a little draft podcast. Yet to be determined.
Yeah.
We're working on getting Mr. Taylor his specific Super Bowl patch white OBJ jersey that is super hard to find, but we're doing our best.
Also working on getting the trophy out of Dave's place to get inspected.
Yeah. Well, Cody hasn't really been.
It doesn't have my fucking name on it.
That's true. Yeah.
Cody's only been okay with it because he doesn't have room for it. The trophy's too fucking big.
Yeah,
it's true. I live in a ditch. Okay, I do not. I'm homeless and I don't have anywhere to put it.
You live in an affordable place, which is the best thing that anybody can want in this day and age. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's get my name on that trophy. Maybe I'll find a spot for it.
It's been on my mind recently, so that'll be happening here in the next month, most likely. And then I think in terms of like the last thing I was gonna say is like in terms of having like the secondary league thing, it seemed like it was gonna maybe be a little bit too much. I mean, I don't know if you listen to this and you got this far and you really want to have a secondary league, like let me know. It's just like the only thing that I can see is like the crossover in terms of like attention for people in our league. And we did have the best year in our league this last year, and I don't really want to take away from that.
It was a solid year.
It was really fun.
What would you guys say your favorite part of this last year was?
I mean, the draft is always the best for me.
Yeah.
The draft is always the highlight. Getting everybody in the same room and having beers and putting up the big fucking draft board, the effort you guys put into it. That was my highlight.
That was really good.
For me, it was, I obviously spoke to Erica. I don't know who this goes, but I obviously spoke to Erica at the beginning of the year about wanting to have the league be like just more energy, more people participating, people showing up to the bar and hanging out, doing all this stuff. I felt like this was the closest together I felt with almost all of the members in the league that I've ever felt since the beginning of it. Because, how many times did we have multiple people over at your spot to do the pod? We had guest spots. You know,
It was really fun when guests came.
We had a lot of people. You know, the podcast was amazing. We had a lot of fun last year with that, and will again this year.
And it's only going to get better still.
Yeah, we're getting better at it. We're getting better at talking. We're getting better at doing our little bit of research. You know, I still make a few mishaps, obviously, as the kind of narrator.
Just gotta watch you play cock.
Yeah, you gotta watch you play cock. You know, you let one of those loose there once in a while. This is true.
Yeah. Is anyone going to ask me about my favorite part? You don't know what my favorite part is?
That's going to do it, guys.
We all know what Cody's favorite part is going to be, but go ahead there.
Second favorite part?
My second favorite part. My second favorite part was week 1 beating Dave. Honestly. I went through all the emotions.
God damn. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, how did you not know we were going to bring that into it?
One final dig.
Oh, one final dig.
What did you say?
I went through all the emotions of like getting a huge lead in that game and then watching Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes like do the thing that they could do. I think I won by like 3 points. I think Dave had the second highest point total in week 1.
I'll say you did. You know, to give just a little token.
No, this is where you turn it off, guys.
Little token. Cody, I feel like did deserve to win at the end of it because of overcoming the Derrick Henry injury.
Thank you.
You know, that was a huge blow to his
Thank
team.
you.
Obviously, still had Cooper Kupp, who had a legendary year. So I mean, let's not put it all on Cody's fantasy ability.
I'm not.
Helps quite a bit when you have the best wide receiver and best running back, you know. But,
I drafted well.
Yeah, and so, you know.
Traded well.
If history is any, precedent or whatever, foreteller or whatever, Cody's going to have a terrible year this year. So
Cody's been in the championship the last 2 years. You can prognosticate all you want to.
What happened
this
to
is my lane. Come fucking get me.
What happened the year before that, Cody?
I got last.
Yeah.
I got last place.
Yeah.
I got hit with tomatoes once. I said never again.
Pretty sure I'm the only one at this table that's always been in the playoffs every year.
Okay. Are we done?
Interesting.
All right.
Interesting flex. Is your name not yet on a trophy?
I'll go get it. All right. Signing off, folks.
Patrick, you need to eat.